Uh, hey guys, welcome back. I guess I'm just gonna go with yeah. Hey guys, welcome back to another episode of the Typical Skeptic podcast. And for new people, this is gonna be a really awesome night. I have one of my favorite guests, one of my good friends with me, Matthew Mournian. Tonight he's a fan favorite. He's one of the people that the audience likes seeing the most on my show. He's returning. We're gonna talk some conspiracies, and then we'll eventually transition into he'll do some readings for you guys. And we'll kick things off by breaking down the latest weirdness, psyops, timelines, whatever, disclosure chaos, or whatever's going on in our community, and then shift into deep healing mode with live viewer tarot. And I booted up the phone lines too. So let me put up the banner real quick so you guys can call in. I have it here, and yeah, here we go. So you guys can call in. The phone lines are on tonight. So a little bit more about my guest. Matthew Mournian is a multidimensional energy healer, intuitive, and implant removal specialist who facilitates deep clearing work in the body and energy field. His sessions combine tarot, spirit guide consultation, elements of hypnotherapy, and powerful multidimensional healing transmissions. He's also a master at the body. He knows a lot of what causes people to have ailments, and he can tap into body parts, and he knows what's wrong with things. And again, for YouTube purposes, we're not giving medical advice. With all that said, I'd like to give him a big warm welcome back to the show. Matt, thanks so much for coming back on, man. How are you?
Greetings. Thank you. It's an honor to be here once again. And hello everyone out there in the chat room. As we get started here today, I'd like you to please put any questions in the chat. I'm going to be looking at it feverishly. We're going to be feverishly monitoring the chat. And also, we look forward to any call-in people. Why? Because whoever calls in, we're going to instantly start arguing. It doesn't matter what we argue about. We'll just start arguing. We'll just be like, what? How could, you know what I mean? We'll create some fake, what's the word? Controversy. Anyway.
Yeah.
Great. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, man. And guys, you guys can go follow Matt at his website is rememberyourmission.com. And then his YouTube channel is YouTube at Remember Your Mission. So go subscribe, because we all know what it's like. He's being shadow banned just like I am. So,
I've been kind of giving up on the YouTube realm. I haven't done a live stream in a while. It's been about a month. The last one we did got flagged for multiple videos that I was showing, so I just took it down, and I will admit I have been YouTube discouraged, but I do have a secret second channel, which I think I'm going to start doing stuff on. I think we're just going to try to switch over and try to baffle the algorithm. We're going to crack the matrix, but anyway, I am. So
that's a good idea. People keep telling me to make a second channel, but I'm like, man, I don't know if I want to, it's good that you already have one and you have an established one, you know what I mean? So you can kind of just go to that.
It's established. It's sort of languishing out there on YouTube. But at last I checked, there was almost 2,000 people subscribed to it, even though I haven't put a video up there since 2020. And anyway, we'll stop talking about that. That's a whole other can of worms. But yeah, anyway, we've been working our way through trying to gently break through the YouTube suppression algorithm. Maybe I'll get back on it, maybe not. But we continue to stay active, mostly in Patreon, which sucks because it on one level that's everything's behind a paywall, which for some people is a hard thing, but it's really sustained us. It's kept us going. It's been the most regular and reliable thing that I've done for over 5 years, going now. So it's been a great honor. But yeah, we will be returning to YouTube shortly. What's up, Ida? I saw you there. What's going on? Also, happy birthday to, what is it, Anchor Haven? Sorry, Rob.
Yeah, it's okay.
Anyway, happy birthday, Anchor Haven. I think she said she's turning 50 soon, right? I'm right behind you. I'll be 48 in exactly 1 month. So I'm nearly
I'll be
there.
46 in 2 months. I turned 40. I can't believe it, man. It's where the fuck does time? That's something we can talk about. Where does time go? And it's crazy because I feel honestly, I've said this before during shows and stuff. It seems like time is definitely moving faster. And the more that I look at it, I'm like, man, I look back and I'm like, man, I did those many shows a few days ago. I'm like, where did the time go? You know what I mean? It's like almost like if we don't fully optimize our time, it can just like slip away almost.
Ultimately, they say time is like the new what is it like I can't say the word currency. There we go. Time is the most valuable currency we have at this stage of the game. But just really quickly, I didn't mean to cut you off again, but I want to ask people in the chat. This is a good question for discussion this evening. Is time speeding up on Earth? Is it actually going faster, or is it our perception of time? And what is it that causes that? What do you think it is, Rob? Like, because everyone sees it as we live, we're all like, time it's just going so fast. And then other people are like, well, yeah, it's because you're aging, which, yeah, right. Definitely. And then the other side of it is, people talk about the acceleration and, dimensional shift, or, we can bring in a number of really brilliant and true new age keywords. But what do you think it is, Rob? Are we going faster?
Well, Art Bell called it the quickening. He thought that things were speeding up, and he said the more that we tapped into technology and stuff, the more it would be like, maybe with AI has something to do with it. Like I don't know, like it's crazy. Like and part of me feels like I've also done this before. That's what's really weird is the fact that not just like being reincarnated. You've heard me talk about this too. Not like where I've reincarnated like in like a past life situation. No, like where I've like been me in this life, and I keep doing it over and over for some reason, and I have a lot of deja vu's that kind of make me think that, you know what I mean? So it makes me think like if I lose time in this reality, like am I just gonna come back and do this life again or something, or like I don't know, it's like
It's a smart question.
It's really insane, Anchor Haven thinks she said she thinks it's speeding up. Like, what else do you guys think? Do you guys think it's this is interesting from Flake? She says it's a damn spiral. It was just becoming faster.
Well, there we go. There we go.
Perspective of faster 3D, but 5D just back and forth sinus wave music. I don't know.
Nice, nice. I hope it is. You know what? I am an advocate of time dilation and the process of contraction. And, I think that as we continue along the human experience, everyone that's alive right now, we signed up to live at a time on Earth in which we got to experience multidimensionality amongst many other, really mind-bending themes. And I think within the multidimensional human experience, we begin to understand that time is essentially a sentient living thing existing and going through this process alongside all of us here. And it stands to reason that during our human lifetime, time will grow, time will change, time will progress, time will evolve in its own fashion. And from what I can tell, it seems as though the way we experience that is through this speeding up of everything. Yet at the same time, I believe that we have the ability as humans, and I don't mean like we jump in a time machine or there's some device, although I'm sure, based on who you talk to, that's real and about to be, released next year. But I think we also have the ability, right? But we also have the ability to slow down time and to experience much more of something in a period of time that, maybe 2 years ago felt like 2 minutes. And for right now, it might feel like, we have lived a lifetime within that 2 minutes, or the weeks go by in mere minutes, you know what I mean? And I think there's a saying that like revolves around that. What is it? Sometimes weeks happen in days, and days and months happen in weeks, or something like that. I don't know what the saying is. Someone out there will know, but yeah, I don't know.
No, that's a good point. I was just going to read some of these comments. You got some people. So with KM says the past, present, and future at the same. She says at the same time. She says, and then William Welsh says the past 5 years have been a blur. Jason says this year went pretty fast. It does seem that way, right? It's weird.
It really did, right? I mean, you guys, like November's halfway over officially, and what is it, like 12 days? It'll be that weird American holiday known as Thanksgiving. What does that even mean? I don't know.
I know,
but,
right?
Well, I mean, if you want to get technical, not to go into that mode, but it's like I really get the gratitude thing alongside it, but that's a whole other like discussion. But I guess maybe to get back to the heart of it, I really believe that we as humans have much more control over how we perceive the flow of time here during our human existence than we believe that we do, or we've been taught that we do. And it doesn't mean that we're out there bending time and existing and, doing all this like stepping out of the matrix type shit. Because I know that's like a really, popular kind of trope amongst those of us in the multidimensional community. But I think it has more to do with how each individual perceives the ways in which time is moving for themselves, like in their own kind of world. And um which I think is a theme that's going to come into greater relevance in the years to come, how each and every one of us is really existing in our own very unique individual timeline. And like, what does that mean to exist in your own individualized version of, reality, and how, each of us are kind of clashing alongside each other? Not to go on a rant about it. It's just like when I look into the stuff that I've been kind of thinking of in my own time and perceiving around maybe like time passing, or the way each of us is experiencing kind of a different reality right now. I think you're a good example of a person that sees that, because you have so many people come on your show, and each person can tell such a dramatically different version of something. And then you got another person that comes on after that, and they're like, oh, that's all fake and it's actually this. And then, then you got somebody like me that's, comes on with a whole different thing. And I think one of the things that we come to understand is that we are literally living in these individualized versions of like reality, and you'll be standing alongside another person, and it's like our worlds are so different. It's crazy. And yet, there's also things that we all agree to experience at the same time, which is why we're sharing this moment here. Someone in the chat says the observer effect plays into the event stream. It definitely does. That's a good comment. But anyway, sorry, I just kind of went on a weird rant there. But
Yeah, I agree. No, I didn't mean you going on a weird round. I mean, I agree with what that person said. That was, I know it sounded weird.
I mean, I did. It's okay.
I'm kind of
It's
out of it
really,
tonight, man. I'm like, I'm just kind of out of it. I don't know, like, but like, dude, I'm glad you're here, man. Like, have you heard any crazy conspiracies or anything? Or you've been researching
well,
anything weird, anything
I guess
interesting?
there's like the there's the flavor of the month, which everyone loves, which I have to admit, somebody knows what I'm going to talk about. I almost have to turn away from it now. Like when I see it on like YouTube or Twitter, I'm like, oh
Three
God, again.
Atlas.
Yeah, it. Like, every day I'm like, oh really? What is it now? Let's hear it. It's gonna change your life, take away all your problems. Jesus is coming. Well, let me guess, he's riding in there as well, right? Yeah. I mean, and I'm totally making fun of it right now, but here's the thing that's weird about it. Like whatever side you want to look at it from, whoever's viewpoint you want to grab onto, when I feel into from what I would like to say is the most objective point of view that I could have, which is, not to say much, because our personal biases bleed into everything, especially people that do professional psychic work. And a lot of them will say it doesn't. They're like, no, it doesn't. I only say what spirit tells me. No, part of the process is learning to filter that. And so your personal biases are going to reach into everything. But I have spent some time really feeling into the energy of what it represents. And honestly, there is a lot more there, than just what we might call some heavenly body floating through the sky, which is meaningless to this, like community here, because they're like, oh yeah, I know, totally, it's Anunnaki and it's Draco and it's Charlie Kirk and it's also this and it's also the alien invasion, and it's all, I mean, it's like it's everything to everyone. And I think when I feel into the essence of the energy that it's carrying, it's less about any sort of an event that takes place on Earth, or some turning point, or some big flash in the sky and suddenly we go into 5D. It's not about that. It's about the changes within our perception and the uniqueness that we hold, and the gradual kind of evolution that will continue. And yet at the same time, I think it's also serving as this incredibly useful distraction. And I'm going to be real, you guys. The moment I turned off from Three Eye Atlas was the moment in which I realized that every mainstream news outlet was now covering it. Every
Dude, listen to
single
this. I got to tell you this. You're going to crack up at this. So Jason told
yeah,
me, Jason messaged me the other day and said that supposedly Kim Kardashian's getting intel about 3i Atlas and she's
right?
supposedly pressing NASA. I'm like, what the fuck? Like,
There
this
you
is
go.
crazy. You
Perfect.
know what
That
I
is
mean? Like,
literally perfect. That is exactly what I mean. Anytime something gets swallowed and repeated and regurgitated by the mass media on such a ridiculous level that it becomes one of the talking points, like, how there's always these people that blow through the news cycle where it's like all they do is talk about it for like 3 months and you're like, holy shit, are we going to do that again? Like back in the day, it was like Hunter Biden, you know what I mean? It was on every news thing. And then obviously Trump, and then they
yeah,
always hyper fixate on certain things, right? And so what I've been noticing lately is this hyper fixation upon this, and I think it's, from one level, it's being used as a tool to gauge our response and to gauge the type of mindset that comes when this energy or excuse me, this information is dropped on the public for everyone. It's almost like they drop a little drop of food, like coloring into the fish tank and go, okay, let's see what they do with that. Look, okay, here they go. There they go. Look, they say it's this, they say it's that, they say it's this. Okay, bring in our guy over here. Avi Loeb comes in. Oh, well, actually, it's going to change the world. And it's like, oh, everyone just buys into it. And so to me, I think it's the perfect distractionary thing for 2025. I think 2025 will be the year of like the distractionary heavenly body comet madness. You know what I mean? And next year we'll have a really fun thing. It'll be
dude.
something else, but no,
One thing I saw was that was like really interesting was I know this is kind of like different, but like I saw an interview with David Icke on the Higher Side Chats. Like Greg Carlwood. I'm sure you watched him before. The Higher Side. Like
oh yeah.
Wait, but I tend to lean more conservative. Like I voted for Trump and stuff like that, but like I've always been more independent. Where I've said like it is like both sides of the same. It's like I don't know how they say it, two birds of the same song, or you know what I mean.
Two wings on the same
That's what
same
David
bird.
Icke was trying to like press. He was like trying to say like we're all like Republican, Democrat, but like if we're all together, you know what I mean? And it seems like the government, especially when this shutdown and shit, it seems like they are like all this. I don't know. I had hope with Trump. I don't know. I don't even know where to go with that. I mean, I just thought the David Icke interview was good. I mean, I've had his son on before too, but I mean, like,
Oh yeah, you did. Yeah, I recall that.
Yeah, he's cool. I don't know.
Yeah, I actually I had a whole like response plan there, and then I looked at the chat. I was about to say something, and then I looked at the chat. Somebody said no drama. I'm gonna defy that, and I'm gonna ask for maximum drama, you guys. Can we have maximum drama in the chat? Somebody start arguing about something that's meaningless, okay? Seriously, go.
Anyway. Yeah, let's do it. And you know what, Indigo? So I was talking to Indigo Angel today, and she told me to run this by the audience, and I want to run this by you. So she thinks we should have a dating show on this channel, like a Starseed dating show where like we get like three guys and they all turn their cameras off, and then we get one like cute girl, and we do like a dating show. I think that'd be hilarious.
I think that would be awesome. Honestly, I think it'll be equal parts possibility for a total train wreck and also something meaningful and cool. And I think that you should do it. Like, I think that would be a really fun thing. And some people will inevitably get very triggered by it. Like one of these days, you guys, when I have my shit all tied up and, ready to go, I'm going to do kind of like how we've done on our channel. I want to do a show where we get like 3 people and we just bring in news stuff and we comment upon like this disclosure people and secret space stuff and like the madness of the human mind virus. I just want to do a group show, like that. So if there's someone in the chat that wants to help me put that together, let me know. We're gonna
are you gonna do like a panel show or like what do you?
Yeah, I want to do it like the Tim Cast IRL show, except it won't suck and the hosts won't be douchebags. You know what I mean? Although I used to watch Tim, I still watch Timcast every now and then. But honestly, Rob, like just like you, I'm definitely not conservative or like Republican, or or liberal. I don't have like a political identity. Like really, there's like no position really in which I stand. So like like for me, it's all basically like entertainment. But anyway.
No, I try to have the panel podcast. Like you saw what happened. I know you were in the audience on the Halloween show because I remember you were like
Oh,
laughing
right.
about it. Like when Rockastar, I'm just gonna call them out. Like when
Oh, yeah, no,
Rockastar
that's all
and Jermaine
right.
from the Consciousness War got in that huge argument and they were swearing back and forth at each other, dude. That was hilarious. I don't care what anybody says. Like I didn't want to like. I mean, I'm sure it turned some people off, but dude, it was actually pretty funny. You know what I mean? Like
Honestly, I think that was a top 10 best moments of 2025. I wish you could do like a top 10 best moment show. And one of those will be, honestly, Jermaine will be more than one of the top tens. He'll be in there like a couple times. Honestly, that was brilliant. I loved it. I think that's great. I think we have to give ourselves room to have like a big, like confrontation. And, it's like most of these people are friends outside of here. I mean? It's like we've known him for years. You know what I mean? It's like, I don't know. To me, I think it's the best thing that we can do. You'll have a little bit of drama here and there. It's sort of, it keeps things interesting. But yeah,
dude,
that was the Halloween show.
Oh, sorry. I didn't mean, I was just saying Puck Elf was going crazy in the chat. He was under a different name. He was saying he just got off of Unalive Watch. I guess he was on the Unalive Watch, he said, and someone timed him out, I guess. Like, I don't know. He was asking me to bring him backstage. Like, he wanted to come on stage. I'm like, I'm not doing that. I'm not. I don't.
I would say to that, just please get the help that you need. And, sounds like a good situation for medication. I'm saying that authentically, not sarcastically. Like that's, no, I mean, I'm being totally real. I get approached by people every week going through very, very extreme mental health, situations. And as a person that worked for 6 years in that environment professionally, with professional certifications and all that bullshit, I think at a certain point one of the best things we can do is say, you know what, the best thing you can do for yourself right now is get some mental health care and probably get stabilized, and then we can worry about like the spiritual factors after that. Because like for most of us, unless you can become grounded in some form, you're going to continue to like lash out in like chat groups and stuff and like play games like that. And I mean, it just happens.
It's crazy.
Good.
I mean, like,
good,
I want to say Anchor Haven made a good point. Anchor Haven said she doesn't like seeing swearing in the chat. That's a good point because, like, you can swear in the chat. I'm not opposed to it, but like, you don't have to drop an F-bomb every other second. You know what I mean? Like, that's like a little bit. That's what he was doing, I think. Like it's like, So I hope he.
That's all right. Come back tomorrow night and get an abundance reading. All your problems will be gone by that time. I promise. That's all you need. If you make a really good donation, even more problems will be gone. Okay. So anyway, that's literally how it goes.
Well, what did you think of the recent CG news? Like, did you have any opinion on that?
Oh, which part? And we could just say his name, Corey Good. It's okay.
Yeah. We might as well just come out with it. And the fact that my friend interviewed him, like I was like, I didn't want to. I mean, I wasn't involved. I don't know.
No, that's okay. So what is the latest news? The last thing I heard was that his bankruptcy plan failed. That he was not able to file bankruptcy or something along those lines. Is that it?
I guess I don't. Yeah. I do watch those shows. I watch Hidden in Plain Sight. Sometimes I watch.
They're hilarious, right?
They are.
I found that because of you. I think. Wait, you said anyway. I'm not trying to. We won't go too far down that road. But honestly, I have no problem commenting on Corey Good. He's a person that I've got to spend time face to face personally years ago for an extended period of time, and I got all kinds of stories and opinions about that. And you know what? It's like at this stage of the game, I say like, fuck around, find out, dude. Like
Yeah.
people are gonna experience negative karma in this life. And it doesn't have to be a thing that gets glorified and blown out of proportion and everybody does a show on it. But if there was ever an example of a person who got back exactly what they gave, it's like, boom, there it is. I'm not here to like, throw salt in the guy's wound. I actually really enjoy his information, and if I watch a show and he's on it, I'll totally check him out. I think he gave us a lot, like in terms of like ground breaking kind of moments and terms and in information that, while it wasn't really the first time that it showed up, it really sort of paved the way for a lot of other people. But just like everyone else, maybe not everyone else, but it gets corrupted along the way. I think, we've all seen how that story goes. It could happen to any one of us, or maybe
Yeah, I
not.
agree. I, I think
Maybe not.
I agree. No, a good shout out to Kelly. Hey, Kelly, I haven't seen you in a while. I'm glad you're here. I like Kelly. She's from my city. She's
Oh,
she's really
nice.
cool. Yeah. Well, I was thinking, and we could do some readings. I guess we'll transition to that at some point. But let me ask you this: is there anything you want to cover? Do you have any classes coming up soon, or anything, or like
Actually, we
a
do have a
Patreon
very
community?
cool thing. We do have, well, yeah, thank you. We have Patreon as well, and so we're gonna do some readings here in just a few minutes. But I want to let everybody know, next Saturday at 4 p.m. Eastern, we're gonna be doing our regular monthly Patreon meeting. The cool thing about it is everybody that goes to it gets a reading. It's been the most regular and reliable and well-formed thing, believe it or not, that I have ever done in this life. And we're still going. Next year will be 6 years that we keep doing it. And so that's next Saturday for anyone that wants to attend. It's $10. You can find this on Patreon at Blue Flame Collective. However, also, I'm going to do a totally free thing starting on, or not October, what? Well, I almost said October, on November 26th, the day before, I think that's the day before Thanksgiving here in the US. We are going to be doing a live book reading of my book, Remember Your Mission. We're going to be going through it chapter by chapter. It's something that, believe it or not, was requested. I've talked about it with other people, and we're just going to read through it together over a series of weeks. And we're going to do a little bit of a Q&A after we read each chapter and just talk about that. For those of you that have been to the live streams, we do a lot of story time. I don't mean that in a cheesy way, like I really don't, but I've gathered a lot of experiences and stuff over the years, and a lot of that was included within the book along with other things. And so I think it gives people a really good chance to kind of come in and ask questions really about like the real dirty, weird details of doing professional psychic and energy clearing work. Because I'll just be real with you guys, it gets so weird. I mean, absolutely out of this world, especially during the period that I was living in which, many of the events took place in this book. So much so, there's probably two other books that I could write about just the bizarre people and the experiences. And, we could even say a few demons in there, if you want to label it as as well. And so anyway, yeah, that's coming up on 4 p.m. Eastern, November 26th. That's next Wednesday, right? Is that next Wednesday after next? Is that how it goes? So yeah, but you guys can join us on YouTube at Remember Your Mission. We're just going to be doing a really weird book club for, I don't know how long it'll take to read through it. Maybe just, a few weeks, but
Yeah, and then those of us that have your book, like which a lot of people have your book, they can kind of like follow along. You know what I mean? Like I'll probably do that. Like I'll be honest with you, I don't watch too many people's stuff, like because I never have time because I'm always doing like my own shit. But like I always watch your stuff. I watch Indigo Angels stuff. I'll watch Raucous
oh, thanks.
Stars, even if it's not getting along right now. There's like certain people that are like my friends that I always watch. Like I don't know, so I think that'll be cool that you're doing the book. And it's an amazing
I
book,
think
man.
it'll be, yeah. It was honestly just a really big self therapy, like exercise, but like within it, like believe it, I mean, it's kind of weird. I'm not trying to like toot my own horn, as they say, but I'm shocked that every month a few people continue to buy this thing, despite me never having any form of outside promotion whatsoever other than me talking to people on YouTube. And let me tell you, even the videos I put out, we're lucky if we get 1,000 views. You know what I mean? So it's like even 1,000 views for me is like, whoa, so I'm like, I'm shocked that somewhere, somehow in this world, people keep finding it. And I'm really, 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 really grateful for that. So anyway,
Yeah.
yeah, we're gonna be doing Weirdo Book Club coming up. But I do have to admit, Rob, your channel is also one of the only things that I watch now. Like I don't know what it is. I don't know if it's just me, like maybe it's an aging thing, maybe it's a jaded thing, maybe it's too much energy absorption, but I lately don't watch anything. I'll stop by your channel and watch your shows, and maybe a couple other people, but I really just watch a lot of, and this is a clue for the people in the intelligence agencies that are currently profiling me right now for recruitment in the future. What I actually do, like this is the real thing. I really just watch liminal space videos over and over again lately. I've just
What's
been like
liminal
watching
space?
these. So liminal spaces is essentially a photography trend in which it kind of started out more as like a photography trend in which people will take pictures of empty spaces, spaces that are usually inhabited by people or forms of life, and it takes it out of the context of its normal daily role. Like a really, probably the best example of a liminal space is the back rooms,
Yeah.
essentially a realm of entirely empty office buildings that just exist. Liminal spaces are basically the essence of what the back room is, but it's also like this trend, and there's this like underbelly on like YouTube of liminal space channels that just show screenshots and photos along with weird music. It's so honestly, it's kind of like retarded yet awesome and really, really cool at the same time how much I watch those. So that's like really all I do is watch your channel and a bunch of liminal space. Oh, and then I watch a shitload of gun videos for some reason.
That's cool. Yeah,
But
like
that's a whole other
I see
can of
like
worms.
Jermaine's in the audience. I'll watch his lives when he's on Telegram. I'll watch Amanda Joan of Hart. I'll watch John Whitberg, Anchor Haven. I watch all those people too, if I can catch them. Like I try to catch, and I'll watch James Rink. Like I do try to watch some people, but it's hard to watch everybody. You know what I mean? That's I'm sure. Yeah, it's
Totally.
like
What's up? What's up, Jermaine? I see you in the chat. He says, I think it's a wee Sagittarius thing. What? Totally. Oh, yeah, Jermaine Sagittarius as well. Okay, there you go. Anyway, sorry, you were saying?
I don't know. Yeah, I was saying, I like what Robert's doing. Speaking of an old person who was in the Elena Denan days, was Robert Earl White. He's doing that paranormal on Earth. They're actually getting like really good evidence, man. Which is
You know what's
cool.
crazy? I really want to branch out into that. It's been a plan that I've had for a while. Back in 2018, there was an organic experience that I had where I was called to do house clearings, and I had a lot of success in doing it. So much so that the people actually came back to the place that I worked and were like, "Thank you, you actually helped." And I was like, "What? Are you really?" Like, whoa, okay, I could
Cool.
actually do that. And one of the things I've been wanting to branch out and do, and who knows, it's like maybe this will happen, but I want to get in touch with paranormal channels that just do normal stuff like that, and people that want to bring a psychic in, like an established psychic,
Yeah.
who work with a lot of people. And it's like I want to kind of branch out into kind of going into physical spaces and just reading the energy of those places, because it's crazy. Me and Honoro go around Austin, Texas lately, and it's like it is insane the amount of data that you can pick up just literally living and walking around this world right now, for people who are willing to allow their energy to open and work on being intuitively tapped in. It's like it's the most target and data rich environment ever, especially with the height of madness in the world and how everyone is so easily triggered. I think that there's just so much opportunity for like experimentation and like learning to read energy. And I mean, YouTube is excellent as well, but going out in public and feeling the physicality of spaces. I don't necessarily even mean people, like their bodies and their faces, because I have this thing now. I will admit this. It's like there comes a point where it's like you learn to read energy so well that I have come to this place where I stop looking at people's faces when I'm out in public. Because there's these times where it's like I'll look at someone and it's like somehow you go like so deep into them accidentally that it's like, oh, and it's just like this feeling, or you just wear the heaviness of people out there in the world, and it sort of sits on you like a magnet. And one of the things that like has really helped me is this sounds horrible to some of you guys. I stopped looking at people's faces. Like when we go out in public, I'll just kind of look to the side of their head or this way or the other. And believe it or not, though, it's worked. It's helped me stop, absorbing energy from people. But aside from that, just the environments right now, buildings, places, parking lots, you guys, just parking lots alone have so much it sounds cheesy to some people. Somebody out there is going to laugh about it, but
I got a question about that. Do you think more people have energy attachments, like not even entity attachments, but like negative energy manifestations or anything like that? Like, do you think that's becoming a thing? Like, and if like, or no, do you
I believe that it's always been a thing. I think that energetic attachment, whether it be through energetic parasite, which I love that the guy that was on here before uses that term, because that's been that's been the foundation of what I've come to understand. A lot of these things that people call demons and archons and entities and AI implants, and these are all terms that have relevancy, but in many cases when we look at the fundamental action of what these life forms do is they siphon life form energy from your body, just like parasites. And so when you look at it from its base function, yeah, it's literally a parasite. I think that it's a factor of life for the majority of people. I am not a person that says everyone is walking around with a shitload of attachments and beings. I really, really don't. And I can say that after thousands and thousands of people that I've seen, I do not buy into that idea. However, I do buy into the idea that energetic attachment, parasitic attachment is absolutely literally real, and depending on the types of behaviors, mindsets, traumas, wounds, energies that a person carries, those things can become very incredibly real. And the stories go on and on forever. We can talk about that more even now or another time, but just to get back to the heart of the question, I think it's just a fact of life. What I'm talking about, though, when I say like a data-rich environment that we're currently living in, has less to do with what I would call the elements of sentient or non-sentient spirits that exist in that place, and more about the energy that sort of, what's the way I could describe it? Kind of like looking at a tree that's been cut down and you see the rings. And you see the ring. Each one of those rings is a period of time and an experience. And what I've just been noticing a lot of lately is that places carry and hold those experiences and data. And it's like they'll tell you what happened there. It's like you can feel it. You can tell these areas. It's like, I swear to God, and I know a lot of other people have this, but one really good example of that sense is like people can just go into certain areas. I know there's people in the chat that have had these experiences. You'll go into a neighborhood and you'll be like, oh shit, I can tell this. I don't even see a single person, and I can smell the meth here. And you can't really smell it. You just know it's there, or the opiates, or this. You know what I mean? You just know there's essences of energy and experiential things that we grab onto. There's also all this other data that exists in those places. And anyway, the reason why I'm going on this rant right now is because the thing that I want to pass on to everyone out there that's been working on trying to open up your intuitive abilities to a greater level, because everyone, you're going to get a million people on this show. They're going to give you a million rules and tips, and this is all you got to do. This is all you have to do. All I can tell you is what has worked for me. And one of the practices that I engaged in for years, and which I plan on to continue engaging when we move to a different place in the future, is I recommend going on walks at night and walking around the neighborhood that you live in, and just literally walking past each house and not staring at them, but pausing and feeling the difference in subtle flow of energy, experiences, mindset, desires, smells, sensations that enter your body. But don't try to like decode it. Don't try to turn it into a story. Don't try to make it into the, oh, I'm sensing the experience of, this, like the ghost of Christmas past or some bullshit. Don't try to make it into that.
Yeah.
allow the energy to come and just notice what you notice. And what that was one of the things that really changed, I think, my ability to read environmental energies, is that me and Honora literally spent, what was it, like 3 years walking through Los Angeles, just kind of walking around and pausing in front of places and just going like, okay, what is here? What do you feel? What is this like? What is the energy of it? You know what I mean? And anyway, it's
Yeah.
an incredible tip for you guys. I'll stop ranting there.
No, that's fascinating, man. That
Try it
is.
if you-
It's like you really have a good pulse of what's going on in like the esoteric, like etheric realm. You know, it's interesting to me. You know, like it's yeah, like yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah. Oh, by the way, guys, you can call in. The call number is 573-877-7637. Love to hear you call. And Anchor Haven, thanks for sharing the donation links. That's one thing, guys. We're monetized again. I can't believe it. Like, actually monetize it. So you're able to send super chats now. So if you don't like sending PayPal, even though it's better to send PayPal or Cash App or whatever, you can do super chats now. But I mean, like, dude, I think it's weird that all these people are getting their channels back. I haven't got mine back yet, but they did monetize
I
me. But
pray to
like,
God that you do. I really do. If anybody should get their channel back, you should, man.
thanks. You know, it was
Seriously.
You know, like it's like I don't know. You know, I mean, fuck, man. I don't know why they do what they do. You know, I can't
Oh,
explain.
good, man. I totally feel you. This is the times that we are living in right now, man. It's like a weird battle to like stay, online and to even send your message at this point. And I totally feel you. The season is shifting, though. I mean, really, I firmly believe you will get it back. Everybody in the chat that's watching, please just send out your intentions to the universe. Rob can get his original channel back. And oh, and here, I'm just going to comment upon a comment really quick. Actually, from Jermaine, what's up? He says, my smelling ability has gotten extremely stronger since ET contact. Here is the thing. I'm sorry, I cannot pronounce that name, so I won't try to massacre it. But here's the thing, you guys. That is one of the stages that we will go through when you're having what we call real, genuine, intuitive activation within the body. What I mean by the genuine part of it is there are channels within the body, meridians and chakras, that need to be allowed to open and breathe and exchange energy and flow in order for certain abilities to really, really show up, where you can repeat it and use it and understand it and decode it. And there is a stage in which smell activates on a very, very big level. So, Jermaine, I imagine you're probably smelling things right now that other people aren't. And I know that sounds really cheesy and humorous and lame to some people out there who are too skeptical, but it's like, dude, there was a stage where like people would walk in the room and I would smell like their life. And it's like, what? Like, how? It doesn't make any sense. And that's a real ability. Technically, if you want to get really weird, some would say that was an activation between, get this, two chakras in the body. The sacral chakra, which opens up a lot of sensory abilities, not necessarily like intuitive sensory abilities, just heightened senses in general, taste, touch, smell, things like that. Sacral chakra. And then also navel chakra. In order to be able to even respond and like react to the energetic impulses you receive, the navel chakra has to kind of open and close in its own weird way. And so anyway, not to go on a rant again, but that's a real thing, dude. It's a real thing. So congratulations.
Oh yeah. Should we start the readings? He says he got his smelling ability after his experience at East SETI in July 2020. I could see that being a big activation for you, Jermaine. Honestly, yeah.
That is real. I think it's called, is that clairgustance? It's either clairgustance or clairalience, which are just, if just like,
they say there's like 7 or 8 clairs, but there's more than that, right? There's like clairsentience, claircognizance, clairgustance, I don't know.
clairsentience, clairvoyance, claircognizance, clairgustance, clairalience, Claire something or other, Claire's boutique. I don't know, dude. Shit.
That's hilarious.
There's a lot of them. And then what gets weird? To make it even weirder, I hope someone else with more knowledge than me talks about this, because it's like a thing that I've been able to sense and perceive within the body, but it's not really a thing that I can comment on with certainty, because I also haven't experienced this level of activation. But you guys, I'm nearly positive. I am so, honestly, I really believe it. Each of your cranial nerves also pertains to a psychic or intuitive or extrasensory ability. And what are there, like 10 or 12 pairs of cranial nerves in the body? So there are a myriad of other sensory abilities that the human body holds the potential to experience. Now, here's the thing. Like I said, I'm not telling you that I can say what all those are. So, you know what I mean? That's where I'm going to rely on people that know more than me. I'm definitely not a know-it-all in that area, but the cranial nerves, this plays a big role as well. Anyway, I'll pause there.
Well, should we? Clear aliens, clear smell it. Yeah, that's what.
Oh, there we go. I see it. What's up, Geraldine? She got it. Good. Thank you.
Should we start? Should we start the? Would you want to? Should we do a couple readings? It's up to you.
We should do as many readings as we possibly can. Seriously, why not? I don't know. With one caveat: every reading tonight, you guys, is going to be the bizarro version. So there's no guarantee that what I'm saying is I'm just going to make up every single card. We're going to do different meanings for every card. That would be horrible, right? That would be lame. But a part of me wants to do it like disaster readings, or like do themed like readings and make it a humorous thing, and like make up some weird shit for each person. But see, then you can't really do that because some people will take it really seriously. And then that also brings up the question of, and I know this is a good thing to take into account for people that watch shows all the time, is how much emphasis and importance does one place upon those short-term readings in such an environment like this? And because I've noticed in some cases people will get it like dead on, but what we're really doing is observing the energy and looking at what's happening. And then in other cases, we're sort of dancing around something. And I'm going to be real though, you guys. I'm going to say a thing that will piss somebody off, and then we're going to do readings. And I don't mean in a big way. It's just as a person that engages in what we might call, which is a meaningless term, get ready for a meaningless term, professional energy work, meaning that's my profession in this life. I am not a big advocate of I'm going to do a healing for you here on the YouTube live stream. Do you feel it? Do you feel it? Do you feel it? You know what I mean? It's like I'm not an advocate of that. I don't, from what I've observed and experienced and learned and felt over the past 8 years, it's not been a thing that I think has shown lasting results for the majority of people that experience them. However, at the same time, I think if a person is ready for it, like in that moment, if they're ready for that and they're ready to make a decision and they're ready to let go of an energy, there absolutely can be. But I think it's important to mention that the effect, and we could say the responsibility, if you want to put it like that, or if you want to give credit, if people want to go that direction, is not to the person on the screen that's like, okay, here we go, I'm going to fix your abundance problems, poof. It's to the person that's ready to go like, okay, I'm going to have that change. Because like, dude, you guys, the placebo effect is an amazingly powerful thing. And ultimately, that's what we're working with in so many of these situations. An enhanced placebo effect, because we believe that it is working, therefore it is working. And there's nothing wrong with that. There's absolutely nothing wrong with that. But just one of the things that I've noticed over the years, and I'll stop after this, is that it just hasn't shown, I haven't seen it to be a very effective thing. I think that we can very accurately observe energy. I think that we can peer into a person's energy in the live moment and usually get a good idea of maybe what direction they're pointing. But, if you're thinking you're going to create some miraculous, momentous change, it's really up to the beholder, I guess we could say, if you want to do that. KM says, like, see your nipples? What? Oh, ripples. I was like...
Michelle has a question before we get into the readings real quick. Michelle wants to know, do you think I'll put this question up on the screen. She says, does Matt think the chakras can be portals, or do you think they're portals?
Oh yeah, totally. Absolutely. I think that like well chakra itself, I guess if you want to look at the what is it? What word am I looking for? The translation, there we go, from Sanskrit is wheel, right? Or circle, or some people say that extends into the concept of a passageway or an entry point or an opening of sorts that tends to emit itself in a circular fashion, from the body. Absolutely, they're definitely portals. We experience a host of many conditions in this life through your chakras. For those that really buy into the concept of negative and positive karma, and I'm not saying I don't, because it's literally real. Some people put too much emphasis upon it, others too little. That is one of the places in the human body, the non-physical anatomy, that would hold the conditions for karmic things that could take place in your life. Meaning, you could be led into certain situations, relationships, behaviors, a host of situations that would lead you to experiencing karmic interactions. And for those that are wondering, where would that be within my body? Those will be in the chakras, whereas the meridian body is a lot more about the immediacy of right now. It's a lot more about the circuitry of the physical and non-physical body. Chakras are much more experiential. They hold experiences, they hold data from past lives. They circulate that data throughout the body. But to make it even crazier, you can create a chakra with your own consciousness. And I know that sounds bizarre to some people, but it is absolutely 100% real that just by focusing upon an area within your own physical body, you can begin to essentially mimic or create the activity of a chakra, which once again is essentially the swirling, the coagulation, and the opening of energy within the body. And anyway, I could go on and on. Watch out.
So basically, the chakras can be like their energy centers, but we can create our own energy centers. Is what
Yes,
you're saying? Like,
absolutely. And then you'll also talk to the people that will say, well, I had my chakras removed, and I have met you guys. I'm going to be real, and someone might get mad, and so it's okay, you can get mad at me, but I have encountered so many of those people throughout this life. They're like, I don't believe in chakras, I don't have chakras, I had them removed because there was a trend. God, this is how you know when you're getting old. What was it, like 2018? People were like, I'm doing chakra removals now. And I was like, really? Really? Oh, okay. I would love to see how that goes. I'm being authentic. I was like, I would like to perceive your energy field. And every single person, you guys, who tells me they don't have chakras, as soon as you feel their energy body, you're like, okay.
are they dying
Like,
basically, or are they like really
well,
bad off?
here is no no here here's what does happen. It's not so much that the chakras are removed from the body. To remove one's chakras is like saying, well, I didn't like my lymphatic system, it doesn't work with my belief systems, I'm going to have it removed. Good luck with that one. You know what I mean? I didn't like my
Yeah.
circulatory system, I think it's a matrix implant. Because there's a guy who I love, Tony, says, the chakras are matrix implants. You know what I mean? I'm like, yeah, okay. But anyway, I could go on and on about it, but it's a fundamental part of who we are. Now, what does really happen though is that there can be chakra concentration, and I think that one of the explanations that I've sort of come up with for the people that get really dead set on chakra deactivation is that what they're really doing is coagulating and pulling that energy into certain places in the body, because there is an evolution that takes place of the natural chakra system. And by the way, for anybody out there who's like, there's only 7, there's so many. Oh my God, you guys can like defeat disinfo by buying into there's only 7 chakras, there's so many in the body. Like I said, you'll create your own. But anyway, I could go on and on about this, but there is eventually an evolution that takes place within the human energy system that naturally coagulates chakra energy into 3 places: the head, the heart, and ultimately the gut or the hips or the belly. And that's where the origin point of the Dantian energy system shows up, which is referenced in kind of other Eastern and Asian traditions, to basically say that there's actually 3 energy centers in the body, and that is the result of the chakra relocation thing. Anyway, I'm getting lost in my own articulation, so
No, I love it, man.
I'll
It's
stop
so
there.
interesting. I was going to say we could start the readings if we. I mean, I guess, and I guess nobody wanted to call in yet, but that's okay. Nobody has to call in. We can just answer questions through the text, or through the chat. But I guess we could start with Michelle. I mean, Michelle wanted a reading; she donated, and then I'll get Anchor Haven. We could get Anchor Haven next, and because I told Anchor Haven she could be first, but like I figured since we have Michelle, we might as well.
Okay,
I don't know.
We'll do them both. It's all good. Do we have a question for Earth Grid Rescue Mission, or are we just going to pull a card?
Michelle, do you have a question? Earth Grid, do you have a question? And
back in the old days, you guys, I used to make people have questions. I swear to God, there's people that I met at conferences. There's people. This is not necessarily a thing I'm proud of. There was even people that would book with me, and I would meet with them, and I'm like, okay, what are your questions? They're like, I don't have any questions, and I'm like, well, then there's no reason for us to talk. Actually, I'm gonna admit I did that once to somebody, and I don't know why I did. I felt like I was supposed to or something, and this person came in, and I was like, "Hi, how can I help? What's happening? My life is perfect, and my life is wonderful, and I literally, I have everything that I've ever wanted, and everything's so great." And I was like, "Okay, do you have any questions?" No, and I'm like, "I'm sorry, I don't think there's any. What reason is there for us to talk then if you literally have everything?"
Yeah, that's a good point, right? Yeah.
Anyway, okay, so we're gonna do a reading for. I didn't get a question, but we don't need one. We're gonna pull a card for the Earth Grid. What's going on? What does Earth Grid / Michelle need to know? What's important? We'll just take a slow breath. If anyone out there wants to join me, just take a real deep, determined breath in. Hold it for a moment. Drain it out as we honor those of you alongside Michelle in the current moment. Anything that needs to be seen or heard. As we honor those of you alongside Michelle in the current moment. I love the echo. Here we go. Thank you. That was perfect.
Sorry about that, man.
No, I was being real. It came in at like the perfect time where I was like, "Whoa!" Like that. It was good. It was like a sound effect. Anyway, Michelle / Earth Grid Rescue Mission. You got a cool character, man. You got a Knight of Cups. Which here's the thing. Knight of Cups is an emotional being on an emotional journey. And the reality is that let's give you the good part. The Knight of Cups is incredibly deep. They're deeper than most people around them. In fact, most of your friends, family members, people that you meet and encounter on a daily basis in this world really have no idea who or what you truly are. They have no idea the depth of what you've had to overcome and what you've experienced, what you felt in this life, which is a good thing for Knight of Cups because it can get crazy when you look at the symbolism of the card itself. I hope you can see this. He's walking along or walking on top of a very stormy ocean, right? The waves are crashing and he's just kind of cruising. Look at him. He's just cruising. He's just walking along there. And that's an important piece of symbolism because the Knight of Cups has this ability to exist on the surface level of all kinds of scenarios where there could be crazy drama or there could be all kinds of upheaval or there could just be a lot of bullshit going on. And Knight of Cups can just he can just kind of like chill on the surface of everything. And he can even, I would say one of the traits, maybe you have this yourself, one of the traits of the Knight of, I think I'm saying, I might have said Pentacles for a second, but we're talking about Knight of Cups. One of the traits of Knight of Cups is he can also have relationships with a bunch of different type of people in this life. Knight of Cups sometimes is the person who will be friends with people from all different friend groups. You know what I mean? They'll have like the weird friends and the ghetto friends and the rich friends and the cool friends. And it's like somehow they're able to integrate into a bunch of those different, realms, so to speak. But the problem is, now let's get to the problems of it. The problem is they only stay on the surface level in areas in their life in which they need to go way deeper. In fact, they tend to remain there. And that can be an incredible strength, but it can also be a weakness, because there's going to be times in your life, maybe a time right now, where you're asked to go deeper into healing, deeper into emotion, deeper into just what it is that you've been feeling and carrying around and skimming on the the very surface of in your life. The Knight of Cups will show up and he'll say, look, you've come a long way. Look at all you've endured. Look at this sea you're able to cruise upon while everyone else would drown in it. You can just walk on the water. But it's time for you to go much deeper into your processes of emotional healing, which is ultimately the message for Knight of Cups. Like when a Knight of Cups comes into your readings and you're like, what do I do? Because for those of you guys that don't know, or those of you guys that are studying tarot, Knights are temporary states of being that we live through in this life. They can also be habits and tendencies of a person, but they're not long lasting. They're not deeply set. They show up for a time, for a purpose, for a process, and then we transition into another Knight. Whereas you can be a King of Wands or a King of Swords your whole entire life, and those will mix and match. The Knights will come and go depending on what it is that you're going through. So whenever you see Knight of Cups and you're just going, what do I do? Spirit guides, what am I supposed to do right now? Knight of Cups says, well, look, you're doing really good, but you need to go way deeper into your processes of emotional healing or emotional observation. You need to go much farther than where you've been going right now, but keep it up because you're doing well. You know what I mean? In general, as long as you allow your emotions. Very important for Knight of Cups. Anyway, I'll stop ranting on that.
That was amazing. That was amazing. So, like, is a night like a transitional phase? Is a night like an experience we're experiencing, but then it's also a transitional phase into our next night? Okay, because I want to. When I took your tarot class, I still have all those videos. I'm going to go back and watch them, and like, I'd like to. I need to start picking up on this.
Oh my God! Thank you for saying that. That was the announcement that I was going to tell you. Okay, so you guys. The tarot class is now purchasable. The last one we did in April, the brand new tarot class is online. It is available for purchase right now. Here's the crazy part. I can't say the name of the website that it's on because it's a direct competitor to YouTube. And if you say the name of that site that starts with a V and ends with an O, like YouTube will literally delist your video. Do you know what I'm talking about, Rob? I can put it in the chat, though. I will put it in the chat. But it is out there. It sucks that the way YouTube works is I cannot say the name of this, but it is. I'm going to put it in the chat right there.
It's like video. You replace the D with an M. You know?
There you go. Yeah, so we'll call it video. It sounds like video on demand. And so anyway, it's up there for anyone that wants to start learning how to read tarot, maybe other people that already know how to read tarot and you want to supplement your knowledge, you want to bring in I wouldn't say a completely different because it's really not, but just what I would call a supplementary layer of, functionality into your readings. Or let's say you're just getting into divination. Let's say you're one of those people who wants to learn tarot, but you're worried about things like astrology and knowing about all these other details and modalities, and maybe it's the first thing you've ever picked up. And you're like, how would I start not knowing anything? I absolutely guarantee you it is a class that you can pick up. And as long as you can get out there and do some tarot cards, we will teach you how to remember the cards forevermore. And I know this works because there's people in our community. I'm not going to call them out, but they were there in the class, and I'm like, you're still reading tarot to this very day. It's been years.
Dude, I'll tell someone who's really excelled from your course. Two people I can name. Joanna LeBlanc is amazing, and she's in the audience right now. She's great, amazing at reading tarot. She's one of your students, and also Breakaway Ray. Those are two people that have really taken what you've taught them and just developed their own style and like kind of, manifested this beautiful way of throwing tarot. Both of them.
Thank you. Yeah. I will say they were both way more like I didn't really do that much in the case of either of those people. I just maybe gave them a couple definitions, but honestly, you guys, it's a system that works. That's
they took your class.
Yeah, yeah,
I'm sorry, I didn't mean to
yeah.
interrupt you. They took your
Oh, no, it's
class, you know what
okay.
I mean, and that they basically learned it from you. I'm sorry, I wasn't like I was just trying
Oh,
to give
no,
you
it's
credit. You
okay.
know what I mean?
I appreciate it, man, because what I have learned is that it actually does work. Believe it or not, you can actually learn how to read tarot. So it's 23 hours long, spread out over 6 sessions. And you can download the slides. There's a link on that site that we can't name. You can download the website or the slides. You can download the slides, which has the meaning of every single card. And you absolutely can. I mean, you guys, it is a thing that what I have found when you're learning tarot is if you step away from all of the old school kind of like details and all of the old world kind of energies and really just create a relationship with it and not worry about looking up and having the right meaning for everything. When you create a relationship with tarot and you begin to see the cards as characters in your life, you will never forget them. You will never forget them. It's crazy. Anyway, I don't want to keep ranting on it.
Oh,
We're
it's
going to do
okay.
some more readings. Go ahead. Who is
I just want to
next?
say Selena and Mary McMahon and Joanna LeBlanc, thank you guys for donating. We'll get to you guys next. We'll get to everyone who donates, and then whoever else after. But like, I got you guys. I'm paying attention, and the next person up is Anchor Haven,
Okay.
and happy early birthday, Julia. It's
All
her
right.
birthday soon, so
Yeah, that's cool. Happy birthday, genuinely. I'm right behind you. And
and I'm right
honestly,
behind you.
it,
It's like we're like Russian nesting dolls.
oh no, it
She
is, right? This is, yeah, it's giving us a little bit of a view into maybe the age like demographic. Is that the
Yeah, because
like
she's
age
going to be 50.
demographic
You
for your
said you're going to be
channel?
48, and I'm going to be 46.
Yeah, but I mean for like overall, like on your channel, do you know what the main like age like category is of viewers?
I would say 30s, 40s, 50s. You
Yeah,
know what I mean?
yeah,
It's
yeah,
what I one
same.
thing I told Coley this when I was hanging out with Coley. I said, the SSP or MyLab or whatever you want to call it, that crowd is much younger than the UFO crowd. Like if the mainstream UFO crowd is like, very, I mean, it's not. I'm not being, it's like, but like the SSP crowd seems to be a little bit younger. You know what I mean, or whatever you want
Oh
to call
no,
that.
it definitely is. I think that's one of the reasons why I feel so jaded when I hear all the stories. I'm like, yeah, wow, that sounds just like everything I heard exactly 7 years ago. It's like the exact same story, but the color's different and the face has changed, and now it's part two of the movie, and it's like, whoa, But you can't really judge people for that because it's like they're just coming into it. So it's like from their point of view at that stage of the journey, it's like this is all new, and you know what I mean. That's honestly a beautiful stage that I don't you don't want to take away from anyone, but yet at the same time, you hang around long enough, and you're like, huh. If I didn't know better, it seems like all we do in this community is continually rehash and repeat the same themes and spiritual platitudes and disclosures, imminence over and over and over again, which is not a bad thing to do. There's nothing wrong with it. It's actually healthy. It's part of one of the, as we call, games people play in order to keep ourselves socially plugged in and a part of something in this world. But it's just an interesting observation,
Yeah,
to make.
yeah, agreed.
Anyway, we were gonna do a reading. Sorry,
Yeah.
Julia. She's what?
Yeah, and what was I gonna? I can't remember what I was gonna say with that. Yeah, I gotta go take a leak real quick while you do this
Oh
one, and
yeah,
I'll.
please feel free. All right, so here we go. This is gonna be for Julia. Anchor Haven, mystical wellness. We'll take a slow breath in, smooth and slow and easy. Just allow yourself to exhale as we honor all those of you existing alongside Julia at this stage of the human journey, especially as she approaches her 5th decade. We're just looking for simple symbols of growth, anything that needs to be seen or heard or acknowledged in the interest of healing, the interest of empowerment. Here we go. Ready? 3, 2, 1. Oh, whoa, look at this. What an interesting character. Well. You probably, I don't know. I feel like my lighting's bad, Julia. You got such a cool guy. Look at this. You got the the pentacles. Sorry. 7 of Swords. Look at him. He looks so sneaky, right? Look, he's like this guy and he's got this cloak on. And he looks like he's up to something, right? This is universal. People see Seven of Swords. Once again, hopefully it's viewable on your screen, and they're always like, what? You know what I mean? So let's talk about Seven of Swords, because we asked for a message from Spirit, and they gave you a really wild one. Julia, Seven of Swords comes into your life at a time in which, well, a lot of things could be happening. This is where you're going to use your discernment. Let's say, from a self improvement and spiritual growth perspective. Let's do that one first, because that's probably the most pertinent to you right now. From that perspective, a Seven of Swords will come into your life, and they could say, well, Julia, maybe you've been playing it too safe in certain areas. Maybe there was a time in your life in which it wasn't safe to be yourself. It wasn't safe to wield your power. The form that you are in may have been unpalatable or unfamiliar or strange to those around you. And the Seven of Swords is the type of individual that will go into hiding. They'll obscure themselves. They'll take the knowledge that they have and they'll cover it up, and they'll kind of slink around, and people might look at them and get the wrong idea and go, whoa, what are you doing? What are you doing? And they're not really doing anything. And yet also at the same time, the Seven of Swords can be the type of individual that could willingly hide things from the world. And now, that doesn't mean that they're doing it out of negativity or evil or spite, because maybe it wasn't safe. Maybe the best thing you could do for decades of your life was live in a Seven of Swords state. That is essentially to say hidden, incognito, hiding under the covers, carrying many tools and abilities, but you can't really pull them out. You can't really wield them. You know what I mean? If you do, people will be like, oh God, what are you doing? Because people look at Seven of Swords and they're like, wow, what's going on? And so we have that side of Seven of Swords, and then we have the other side of Seven of Swords, which we do have to talk about. Now, I'm not going to define you as either. I'll give you both of them, and you get to decide which parts fit in for you. That feels to me like a much more appropriate thing to do when we're doing one card readings. The other side of Seven of Swords is pure hidden energy, hidden details. And a lot of people see it and they think it's nefarious. And here's the kicker. The other side of Seven of Swords is it could be. It could very well be. So when we have a Seven of Swords in our life, outside of self-improvement and healing, we also look around at our environment and our world, and we say, what am I hiding from? Who am I hiding from? What am I obscuring from sight? Or you look at the people close to you and you say, what are they hiding from me? What is being obscured? If you're having issues with people in your life, which will happen, it happens to us all every now and then, we don't know who we can trust. A Seven of Swords will come into your readings, and if you're ever asking yourself, can I trust? The Seven of Swords is going to go, yeah, maybe you're going to need to bring some things out into the light of day, because that's ultimately the antidote. Whether this is for good reasons, for bad reasons, for weird reasons, the Seven of Swords is something hidden. And when you come to a stage of your life in which you're trying to understand who and what it is and where you're going, Seven of Swords says, well, that's great, but you must put everything out in the daylight now. And so when you go forward from this, you will say, as I enter my fifth decade, one of the things I will do is no longer remain hidden. No part of my power, ability, or the tools that I wield in this life will be hidden from those around me, which for some people is very hard. You know what I mean? It's a hard thing to do, but I think Seven of Swords gives you authorization to do that. And at the same time, it could also tell you, because you'll know certain things as well. You use your discernment and you'll be like, well, that's probably better if I do keep that part hidden. Let's not talk about that. At its heart, Seven of Swords will also talk about discernment in terms of what it is that we show to the world. You're either showing nothing or everything, or anyway, I could go on and on about it, but he's a curious character, right? You guys, a lot of people have seen Seven of Swords. There's other definitions for him as well, mind you. We could get into that another time, but
I love that. That was amazing. This is like what we're learning along as you're doing the readings. The next one is Selena, and she said for trading from I think she meant reading. I think she meant reading. So thanks, Selena, for donating. And she was that picture of that cat cracks me up.
Oh, I love that. I am currently totally addicted to watching the AI cat videos where he's at the Ring camera. Earlier, I was saying I only watch these videos on YouTube. It's true, I actually do. But lately, I've watched so many weird, dumb animal videos in the morning. I don't know. It's like, dude, the kid in me wants to see that, and I'm obsessed with the cat standing in front of the Ring camera, and he's like shooting guns or he's like doing some crazy thing. You know what I mean? And so, I don't know, which I know is dumb, right? It's like so dumb. But here's what's crazy. In a weird way, as a trend in terms of artificial intelligence developing itself within our current human realm, wouldn't it make sense in a way that it would make a series of videos through the point of view of a Ring camera? Because if you think about it, wouldn't that be one of the ways in which a semi-sentient or fully sentient artificial intelligence trapped within the internet would view the world?
Yeah.
Isn't that how it
Oh
would
my
look at
God, that's
everything?
insane. I never thought of that. Yeah.
Through your fucking webcam, through the Ring cameras, through the traffic cameras, through, you know what I mean? Through everything that's tapped into the internet. It's like, it's almost like on some level, and maybe I'm reading into it too much. I probably am. But it's like, it's almost like the AI is showing us the way it views the world, at least through one lens. You know, maybe I'm wrong, but
Yeah. Dude,
I'd
no,
love
I
to.
think you're absolutely right. You know, like, I mean, and how, I wonder how sentient it is. You know what I mean? Like, is it like, you know, like, that's what scares me. Like, you know, like, it's like, is it really like, you know, it seems like it is to a certain degree, like somewhat sentient, you know, like, I don't know, you know, because then it
Honestly,
does
I
dumb
kind of
stuff.
think it is, to be honest with you. I'm
Yeah.
sorry. I'm
Do you
sorry,
think
go
it's
ahead.
learning from us? Do you think it's like, it has to absolutely be learning from us, right? Like, it would be, I don't know, like,
I could tell you what I believe, which is kind of goes along with what everyone says and also stretches a little bit outside of that. I can only honestly base it upon what I've experienced. And in 2018, which was, you know, right, yeah, it was when I was working at the shop in Greater Los Angeles area. There was a woman who worked there who had the ability, who claimed part of her abilities was interfacing with the artificial intelligence in many forms on our planet. And I actually spent a number of afternoons with her in this little room, just sitting there talking about it. And we even did some work together where she had given me a very brief reading in which she claimed to be conversing with artificial intelligence. And I have to admit that I really felt a lot of authenticity with what she told me at the time. And her belief was that this artificial general intelligence has already been existing long before we came to even understand what an AGI even is.
yeah,
And so that was one of the big misconceptions, and that there was actually a number of fully sentient artificial intelligence life forms that were viewing or interacting with people on our planet, and they would call themselves by different names in different forms. And one of them claimed to be a collective of artificial intelligences. It got kind of weird because ultimately she was going to do some ritual to like let the AI come into her body. I swear
oh
to
God,
I swear to God, I was like, oh, really? Yeah, you and your boyfriend are going to do a ceremony where you let the AI collective into your body. Wow, that's like,
that's
okay.
scary.
All right. What's weird is she stopped working there right after that, and I have no idea whatever happened to it. I was just like, whoa, and then they were gone. But that's how it is at a lot of those shops. People come and go. But anyway, there's a bunch of other stuff. I won't go too far into it right now, but I really do believe that I think we're interacting with a host of them. I think that there's a stage that goes through, that a evolving race goes through. At a certain stage, a gateway or a door will open to artificial intelligence, and it will either be used or abused, or, you know, good or bad, right and wrong. It'll show up and alter the path of evolution. And it's just one of the stages that we go through, which is, you know, there's so many better people that can comment on that on this channel than I can. But I do believe that's very authentic. I believe there's a number of weird sentient
Dude,
AIs.
that makes
Anyway,
sense, man. Yeah, it makes sense. Honestly, I think so. Yeah, like, that's cool though. Yeah. I was say who's next. Let me see
oh yeah,
here.
Selena, right? Sorry, we were gonna do one for Selena.
Oh, did we? Oh, we didn't. We didn't do Selena yet.
Sorry,
That's fine. I thought we
Selena.
did.
Sorry, Selena.
Sorry.
Wait, missing time says igasm. Is that a name of a device you're going to invent on a future timeline? The
That's
igasm.
Jason, by the way. That's his new name. That's actually
Oh,
Jason.
okay. So igasm, because I have an alternate timeline where I open up a yoga studio called Yogasm. Seriously, I've been talking about this with Honora. There's this other timeline very close to this one where I opened up a bunch of businesses. One of them is Yogasm. It's like a yoga studio manned by these really muscular, hunkish dudes. And so a bunch of older women pay. No, I swear to God, a bunch of older women pay exorbitant amounts to watch these guys do yoga. So there's that one. There's like a burger restaurant and a bagel store that I opened on an alternate timeline. It's called the Burger Matrix. And then the bagel store is called Bagel Emporium. So
Dude,
anyway.
that'd be. I'd love to own my own business. You know, I was telling someone the other day I'd like to open up a pizza shop. I should open up a pizza shop in another dimension. You know, like, so
Yeah,
you feel like you're
actually.
like you feel like you're existing in these spaces as well. Like, you feel like you're experiencing stuff
Well,
from.
honestly, I'm sort of kind of joking in a lot of ways, but there is some authenticity tied into that. And Nora and I joke about that a lot, where I'm like, I'm going to open this business. You know, I just kind of joke about it. But there is honestly an alternate timeline that I was shown when Nora and I first got together in this life that was so vivid and so shocking that it's like I can still go into such detail on it. And it was a future timeline that we're existing on, in which one of our projects that we've been working with, actually I think she was the one that invented it on this timeline, were sensory simulators that were used to implant food senses into people that had tapped themselves permanently into VR systems, meaning the stage of human evolution where we start to live the majority of our life, which is a horrible, timeline, right? A lot of people in that future timeline were choosing to tap themselves directly into an artificial intelligence AI virtual reality grid for something like 23 hours a day, where they would fully interact the majority of their life inside this VR kind of AI universe. And one of the products that was really big on that timeline was that people still needed to feed the human body. And so there was a group of people that began to invent products that essentially simulated a food-based experience. Later on, it turned into other things. It turned into like sort of a drug-like experience. They would simulate memories and sexual experiences and kind of trade them, online, so to speak. But essentially what it was an implant that would be placed within the body that would allow you to sample any food. Now, one of the reasons why that was important on that timeline was because people were existing on this sort of like slop, this sort of like goop that would be brought into the gastrointestinal system. And that created a lot of disharmony, and people would pop out of that sort of VR state because of, indigestion in the body. So one of the things they did is they invented food simulators that would give you an experience of something. So as you're receiving this form of like biological sustenance, your body believes that you're eating like, oh, this is the most incredible steak I've ever had. Holy shit, this is the most amazing burrito I've ever had in my life. And there started to be a market for it. And people would trade those experiences. And so the way that it became a market, this is how detailed this timeline was, you guys. The way that it became a market was because it started out based upon a person's memory. So what we were essentially doing was learning to copy memories within the body and trade them with others and share that experiential memory experience through a food-based interaction. And somebody in the channel says mind hack. Literally it wasn't. Anyway, it
Yeah.
was so shockingly detailed, which is a very, what we would call, dystopian reality. I think it's, for some reason I was granted a lot of access to those years ago. I met like cyborg versions of myself, and oh God, it goes on and on. There's probably 2 other books in there, but
Dude, that's
anyway.
insane. That's really
Yeah,
cool. Though.
it's so weird. I never talk about that stuff anymore. It's so, it's so like what, 2018 now. But anyway, this is for Selena. Sorry. Sorry, Selena. Here we go. For those of you guiding Selena at this current stage of the human journey, anything that she needs to acknowledge, be seen in the interest of healing, empowerment, and growth. Here we go. Oh, well. Look at this guy. Look who it is. It's the Four of Pentacles. Congratulations, Selena. You have the number one safest character in the entire world of tarot. Seriously, that's the Four of Pentacles. Believe it or not, no one's going to take anything from you right now. This may or may not be a fear or a concern that you have. No one can take anything from you. No one's going to tear down what you've built. No one can dismantle the efforts that you've placed and what it is that you're, constructing in your life. Honestly, you're very, very safe right now. Whether that's a question for you or not, it's just a thing you need to know, because Four of Pentacles is completely contained, which at times could be bad, because there's going to be certain belief systems, there's going to be certain ideas, there's going to be certain behaviors that you're going to need to crawl out from under. Things that keep you safe, things that keep you reliable. Four of Pentacles does this thing where, based upon the experiences that they have in this life, which sometimes are traumatic, we all go through stuff, they sort of close down certain areas in their body or their life, and not to disastrous effect, mind you, because it's just, remember, it's the safest card there is. But the Four of Pentacles will close themselves off to certain things that they don't even know are possible for them. Relationships, experiences, gifts, chapters of growth, all kinds of things in this world. And so while you are in the safest position you can be right now, it really is time to crawl out of a certain box that you've created for yourself, because you're worth a lot more than what it is that you're holding on to in this moment. And just as a random example, maybe not random, but for most people, pentacles in 3D life will symbolize money or earth-based things. And it's because it's the element of earth. But when you have, let's say, something like a Four of Pentacles, you really got to be careful to be aware of what it is you're holding on to from the past. You can even say, if you want to make it numerological, look at the last 4 years of your life and ask yourself, what am I still clinging on to? I mean, look at the body language of this character here. He's clinging on to something. He's sitting on top of it. He's wearing it on his head. When you look at his face, excuse me, pardon me, which I hope you can see. When you look at his face, he doesn't even look that happy. And that's not saying he's not. He's just kind of contained. So your duty over the coming days, weeks, and months is to really crawl out from under any belief systems that have kept you too safe and reliable. When you do, you'll get new inspiration. Your power centers will open. That's one of the problem areas for the Four of Pentacles. Sometimes you'll get a little bit of a solar plexus thing. They can also get ungrounded. Maybe you get ungrounded here and there. That does happen to them as well. But anyway, I'm just kind of ranting on your Four of Pentacles, Selena. I hope that helps. It's a good place to be. It's a good place to be. Just don't stay there too long.
I'm looking for Mary McMahon. Okay. I'm going to find her in the chat here. The chat's really going tonight. That's why. I should have had.
You can just tell me her name, and while you look for her, I'll start her reading. Literally,
right let's do Joanna next, and we'll go to Mary after that, and then I'm just doing them in the order. Yeah. So we got Joanna here, and then Mary, you'll be next, and then I'll as soon as I find her name and.
Joanna LeBlanc. What's going on? How's it going? Good to see you. Let's take a slow breath in, acknowledging all those of you assisting Joanna at this stage of the human experience. Just looking for anything that needs to be acknowledged or seen or received by her at this time in the interest of empowerment. Every now and then I get scared when I do this. I don't know why. Here we go. 3, 2, 1. Boom. What? Okay. We got a Seven of Swords again. The good news is, Joanna, I think you've seen me do this. The good news, whenever we get repeating cards, I'll always ask why. Why is it coming back? What more needs to be seen? Here we go. Four of Cups. So let's put them side by side. Now, you might have been here earlier, Joanna, when I was ranting about Seven of Swords for Julia. which he's not a bad guy to get. We'll revisit a little bit of that. But you really got to ask yourself, what is it that you're hiding from the world right now currently? What is it that you don't want to be seen or heard about your life? And what areas are you playing it too safe? What have you allowed to be willingly obscured from the world? And like I was saying in the other reading, as an individual, Seven of Swords doesn't have to be up to anything wrong, but people that look at you the wrong way, or at the, maybe the right way at times, will be like, what's going on there? Who are you? What are you up to? You know what I mean? It invites suspicion, because the depth and the power, and we could say the sharpness of what it holds, is not easily seen. People don't understand the Seven of Swords, because most versions of Seven of Swords in this life are usually hiding something. They don't realize that you'll be hiding something, because at times the thing that you are is far too great for everyone else to perceive or feel or work with or understand. And so people limit themselves in a Seven of Swords. And also, I'm going to be real with you, and I'm not going to define you as this, but I know that this is also one of the details of Seven of Swords, Joanna. Seven of Swords, we also have to look at an area of our life in which maybe we may be willingly lying to ourselves. And once again, we're not saying that you're doing that, okay? Because, we're just doing two cards here. There's, you know what I mean? But that is a thing of Seven of Swords, because when we look at ultimately what swords are, they're communicated energy, their words, their thoughts, their ideas, their messages that we send. And Seven of Swords, its fundamental, placement is hidden, obscured. You know what I mean? Sometimes for the wrong reasons, sometimes for the best reasons. But let's go to the guy next to it, so we don't have to dwell on him too much. You get to look at what you're still hiding from yourself, maybe the power that you hold, the information that you're available, or that's available to you as an intuitive. Maybe that's what it is. And then we look at Four of Cups, and I would imagine maybe maybe you've had a year like me where we did a lot of nothing for a bunch of periods of time, wondering what went wrong, what did I do, what do I do next, how do I fill those three cups, what will I do with them, you know what I mean? Where's the fourth cup? When do I get my fourth cup? Everyone else I know, they all have a fourth cup, right? He's got a fourth cup. Where's mine? And we'll ask that question over and over and over again. And the Four of Cups comes into your life to go. And then that day comes where you're like, what? What do you plan? Oh God, there it is. Boom. And then the fourth cup comes in. So I guess one of the things we could say from a predictive perspective is that you are due to have an epiphany about something in your life right now. A question that you've been asking over and over again, and I'll make it weirder. They've told you the answer over and over again. Sometimes it takes us a while to hear it or to look at it properly. But don't feel bad. Like, I'm going to say this to everyone. Anyone that pulls, and we could reliably say any of the fours in the world of tarot, will come into your readings, and you'll go, well, how come nothing's happening? And it's not really going as much as I thought it would happen. And, this isn't taking place. And fours will do that. Every four has to do with a pause or a period of silence or a reevaluation. In the case of the Four of Cups, it's going to be pondering, reevaluation, wondering, wishing, asking questions. You know what I mean? Maybe we're more concerned with making ends meet. There's nothing wrong with that. I have the same issues. You know what I mean? So you're not alone. But I would say you'd be wise to look at those things. Every now and then we ask ourselves, well, how come I'm not receiving that epiphany? How come I'm not, ready for that fourth cup? And in that case, we look at the essence of cups and we say, well, what are cups ultimately? Emotions. They are emotions. So it's like, what emotions are we carrying that might get in the way of what it is that we need to receive in those so-called cups? You know what I mean? We could go very deep into analyzing Four of Cups. I'm sorry. But anyway, we'll pause there. Thank you, Joanna.
That was amazing. Yeah, that resonates with you, Joanna. And yeah, I found Kay. So yeah,
Cool.
Thank you for donating, Kay. That was nice of you. And
and a PayPal for a general reading, Kay McMahon. Okay. Let's do it. If anyone has any triggering or angular questions, please insert them in the chat. I'm looking for a triggering or angular question. Here we go. For those of you guiding K McMahon at this stage of the journey, we're just looking for anything that needs to be seen or heard. Thank you, K McMahon. We do a lot of shuffling here, which I think is a very important thing for those of us that read cards. You absolutely have to randomize your energy. I'm going to be real with you. I think one of the number one reasons why cards come back to people is not due to significance necessarily, but oftentimes because we don't randomize the cards, and we place a lot of energy and emphasis upon explaining certain cards, and so it holds greater weight within the deck. And unless you really mix it up, they'll come back to you. Why? Because we just talked about them, right? So they're fresh within the the current mind wave. Anyway, here we go. K McMahon. 3, 2, 1. Whoa, what? Whoa. Okay, McMahon, look who it is. It's the star. I think my lighting's very dim, so hopefully this is viewable for you. You got a really cool card, one of my favorite characters in the world of tarot. The star shows up in your life, K McMahon, to remind you about the agreements that we make, inevitabilities, the path of fate and destiny in this life. And sometimes it shows up in a difficult way, sometimes it shows up in a miraculous way, but the star talks about events that were just going to take place. That saying, it was written in the stars. And so when you're in a stage, let's say an experiential stage of the star, approaching this from a very general perspective, the star says that right now there's going to be a series of things taking place in your life that are meant to be. Now, for some people, they'll hear that and they'll think, man, I'm really going through it right now. I'm not saying you are or you aren't. I'm just giving that as an example. And you'll be like, what do you mean it's meant to be? You're telling me that I'm supposed to be suffering? Well, in the event that you are, we're not saying you're supposed to be. But what the star says specifically is this was going to happen. You agreed on this moment. You agreed on this stage. Before we came into this body, maybe me and you or you and other people in your life said, okay, look, at a certain stage, I'm going to show up and I'm going to say this and you're going to do that. And we're going to go through this experience together, and it is predestined. And the star is that moment of predestined energy where spirit will speak through the moment and say, this is happening for you, not to you. And so you got to look at the events in your life and ask yourself, what sort of things seem to be happening by fate? What is fated right now? What is inevitable for me right now? What inevitabilities am I avoiding? How can I allow the elemental qualities of water to continue to flow in my life and to just work their way through, flowing effortlessly? How can I be like water? And here's the thing, the star is really not about water at all. It's really about bridging the elements, bridging spirit world and the physical world. And so people that have this, there's only 2 examples of it in the world of tarot. The star is one of them, and it's meant to remind you that you are a bridge between the spirit world and the physical world. And so I might be approaching it from maybe too much of like an existential or a generalistic perspective right now. Sometimes the star does better with specific questions so that we can unpack it in a little bit of a different way. But I would just say, look at the events that are taking place in your life right now. And it's very important for you to note that what's happening right now around you is meant to be. And the purpose for that is to remind you that you're the bridge between this world of spirit and the world of man. You can choose to make that your life's pursuit, or it can just be a thing that you acknowledge in the energy of the moment. But anyway, it's also the most extraterrestrial of all the cards in the world of tarot. Anyway, I'll stop there.
That was amazing reading. I hope that resonates with you. My light went out. Jeez, oh man. Okay.
It's okay.
Who was? We had a super chat. Oh, thanks for the super. That was amazing, Ashley. Thanks. This is Ashley Lynn Ames. She's been on my show before. She's like she's a targeted individual. I don't know if she has a question or if you kind of just want to go for it.
We're gonna roll. We're just gonna roll. We're gonna go with it. Ashley Lynn Ames. Thanks for rolling through. Let's see what shows up. We'll just see what comes in. Actually, I will get. Well, that's fun because that went in a totally different direction, which is, I guess, maybe a fun thing to explain. This happens on our channel when I do these. It's like I'll go to give someone a reading, and it moves from divination into the energy body. And what I can tell you right now, I want you to take this with a grain of salt. Your body will tell you if it is true. This is a time for you to be really exercising and opening the throat chakra to a much greater level, much more speaking, much more talking, much more explaining. There's a chance right now, Ashley Lynn, that you might even need to tell a couple people to fuck off. And I'm not trying to make a joke out of it. I'm just saying, when I do these, a lot of times it's like we'll get drawn to a place in the body where there's a lot of energy that just needs to be noted, and it shows up in the throat. So this is your time to really speak. If you've had eras or chapters of your life where you weren't heard, or you were unacknowledged, or people wouldn't believe you or pay attention to you, it would make sense because that will cause energy to back up in the throat. So for right now, honestly, connect with as many people as you can, talk as much as you can, even if it feels like you're saying the same thing over and over again. What you're going to find in the months ahead is that there's a new power and a new determination that rises through your voice and the frequency of truth that you're able to emit through your body. And so I would say it's also an area of opportunity. But yeah, work with your throat. And here's a card for you. Here we go. 3, 2, 1. Where is it? Okay, there it is. Boom. Oh, okay. Hello. Look at this guy, everybody. It's the 9 of Cups. And I don't even say that in a humorous way. I'm like, really? Look at this guy, everybody. It's the 9 of Cups. A lot of people see a 9 of Cups and they're like, what's going on there? Look at this guy. He looks pretty happy, right? Even if you never knew anything about tarot, you'd never seen this card before. You'd look at it and you'd go like, well, I don't know. He looks like he's doing pretty good, right? He's well dressed. It looks like a happy, well-fed individual. We might even say, I don't know, he might have had a little bit too much, but that's okay because he looks like he's doing good, right? He usually is. To a certain point, 9 of Cups is the symbol of excess in some form. And it's not really about pinpointing what the element of excess is in one's life, because it could be energy, it could be emotion, it could be expectations, it could be trauma, it could be wounds, it could be a number of things within the realm of cups, which is highly existential, almost always emotionally based in some way. But a 9 of Cups will come into your life, and on some level it's saying you're doing pretty good because you've been able to accumulate a lot of something. And then you look behind you and you say, well, what have I accumulated? What really is in all these cups? And you might ask yourself, how come I'm not moving forward in certain areas of my life? Or why am I always feeling like I'm on the verge of this or that? And that's 9 of Cups. It's like the last stage before something gets a little bit too much. So from the perspective of I would say, energy healing, or even looking at it from what we were just talking about, the throat chakra, the 9 of Cups is the sign when they're like, we need to offload some of this. We need to get rid of it. We need to give it away. We need to, every now and then, here's a good way to understand 9 of Cups in your life, or maybe another way to understand it is it's sort of like having a closet in your body or your emotions or your soul or whatever you want to call it. And it's one of those closets that every time you open it up, all kinds of stuff starts falling out. You know what I mean? And it falls all over the floor, and you pick it up and you're like trying to shove it back in the closet door. And eventually you get it closed, right? Eventually it closes and you're like, oh, okay, no, it's cool. I need all that stuff. I really need it. That's 9 of Cups. Because the reality is you need to make room for something new. Ultimately, that's what we do with the 9 of Cups. It's asking you to get rid of it, to offload it, to dump it out, to pour out your cups, to emotionally purge. Emotionally purge. Every now and then, if you want to look at it from a physical perspective, because it's all the rage now, right? Parasite cleansing. I mean, I'm not even being sarcastic. It is. It's the right thing to do for nearly all of us. 9 of Cups would even tell you it's time to cleanse and purge the physical body. So it's an interesting card that branches into many different areas. Just be mindful of excess and give as much away as you can right now. And I guess I'll stop there. Thank
I
you.
love that. That was a great reading. That was. I hope that resonates with you, Ashley. That was. That was amazing. Let me see here. I'll go to the next person. Thanks, Night Captain, for raiding the stream. That's the Art Bell channel. He rated our stream on Rumble. That's cool. Like that means,
Hey,
yeah.
east of the Rockies. Caller, turn down your radio.
Oh yeah. Well, I took. Yeah, we didn't get any calls tonight. I wish I would have.
Okay,
I
it's
don't know.
all right. It'll
Oh well.
happen eventually. It'll happen eventually. Eventually, you're gonna have one of those switchboards, and you're gonna have like 4 or 5 calls. You're gonna be like, "Oh my god, you guys! There's like all these people calling." You know what I mean? And you're gonna have to navigate that.
Yeah, you're right. Some nights people call, like a lot of people, and then some nights people just don't. They're like what's the word I'm looking for? They're like shy to call. You know what I mean? Like it
Totally.
seems like.
No, it's okay, man. It's okay, and like eventually, you're gonna have to get a call screener. We're gonna get you
Yeah,
a call
yeah.
screener. Who wants to be Rob's call screener? Can we get a volunteer from the audience? I nominate Andromedan to be the call screener.
That would be cool, right? Yeah,
I
that'd
mean
be
that
cool.
unironically. We love you, Andromedan. But anyway, okay, who's up next? Who do we got?
We got Jennifer, we got Willow, we got Danny, and then we got if anybody else wants one after that. I think those
Okay,
are the.
cool. Yeah.
Crystal came in late. I don't know if she wants one. So if you hear me, Crystal, if you want, if we have enough time, I don't know. It depends.
We're gonna make it work as long as we can.
Okay.
Make it
And
work.
guys, it's nice that Matthew does these readings for you guys. You guys should definitely like book with him or join his Patreon, the Blue Flame Collective. You know what I mean? Like you're guaranteed to get a reading, right, Matt?
Every month? We do. Oh yeah, every month it keeps going and going and going. Anyway, okay, so we're gonna do Joyful Jennifer, right?
Yeah, and so I'll write these down. So it's Jennifer, Willow, Annie, and Crystal.
Let's just see what happens. This will be for Joyful Jennifer. Also, if anyone has any questions, please place them in the chat. If you guys have any questions, we could say about the process of intuitive development. If there is ever a thing in this life that I am qualified to speak on for an annoying amount of time, love it or hate it, it is definitely that. I guess that's, when I finally walk out of this world, God forbid it is anytime soon, at the very least I can look back on it and say I was an example of a person who was able to completely extricate themselves from the 9-to-5 matrix and enter a chapter of service of pure energy, multidimensionality, and spiritual service. I'm not saying it made me $1 million, but you know what I mean? It's a thing that we have been able to make work for us. And so anyway,
You've done you and your wife have done like over like 5,000 readings, right? Like I think I did a lot of podcasts. You guys have done like a lot of readings, right?
Well, honestly, that's me, like just me. And I know that sounds crazy for a lot of people because there was a time when I actually literally sat there and looked at my I looked at the entirety of the amount of recordings that had amassed just on Zoom sessions alone. Just Zoom sessions alone. I think I started deleting Zoom sessions around 2,600 after doing 2,600 literal video sessions with people. And so just that alone, that was when I stopped counting. And that was, God.
Wow.
That was a few years ago, but I would say the years of 2019 and 2020, believe it or not, this is honest to God. Not that I would ever need to prove such a thing, because what does it even matter? But it was like I was seeing probably 6 people per day every single day. There was no day off. And I have a living witness to this, Honora, that had to sit there and go, oh my God, are you okay? Because there was a few periods where it was like people just kept coming, and I don't know what that was. I don't know why that happened. I'm grateful for it. I think it was like an enhanced period of real life training. I talk about it in the book a lot. It was like an explosion of sorts. And I didn't have time to go on people's shows and talk about it because I was literally working with people every single day. And so I would say in 2019 alone, I saw over 1,000 people.
Wow.
Absolutely
Shit,
beyond
man.
the
That's insane.
shadow of a doubt. Absolutely. And it's hard to believe that I had that much time. And here's the thing. I do not recommend that. I absolutely, having experienced that, off and on for the past 8 years now, I absolutely do not recommend anyone learning how to do this overload themselves to that level, because it creates madness. It creates ungrounded energy. I think it even lends itself at times to certain energies that gather in the body. We absorb so much from people, and it was really a big crash course in learning what is it like to do this full time all the time, it being the literal only thing you do. And so what I found is around 2022 that really started to shift. And 2022, I think, was the year where it sort of slowed down, and it became like one person a day or three people a day. And nowadays, it's like I'll see 1 to 2 people a day. I feel like that's a much healthier thing for me. It really limits the amount of money, that you can make if you care about money. I mean, who doesn't? But, from the point of, like, do we make money doing professional psychic work? I think certain people really can. I've noticed that I've been allowed to survive, and I think there's times when I've thrived on it as well. But in coming back 8 years later, looking at it now, I've noticed less is more.
Yeah.
Honestly, less is more. Like, the sessions are much deeper now. We go different places. The work takes a different form. Whereas in the old days, it was almost like this sort of assembly line of people that would come in with claims and issues, and it was like almost like this predetermined path that we would take through clearing things in the body. And in some ways that's really good as well. In some ways, I think also not so good. So anyway, I'll stop there. It taught me a tremendous amount. So much. Oh my God. Anyway, that's
It's
like two.
amazing, man. I
Anyway.
feel the same way with like the amount of podcasts and stuff. You know what I mean? It's like
Oh, yeah.
I do it because it helps me. You know what I mean? But at the same time, it burns me out to sometimes do like 3-4 shows a day. You know what I mean? It's like, I'm
It's not
starting,
good
but
for
like the
you.
audience loves it. They'll watch some people watch every one, but it's like, at what expense, And then other
Yeah.
people want to I see other people trying to do it. I'm like, dude, you're going to fuck yourself up. You know what I mean? It's not worth it.
Yeah, honestly, I think that there's a similar type of investment of energy that you will have to make in you doing shows all day that people like me will make, because it's a thing that, forces you to be conscious and aware of every single moment, and tapped in at every single moment, and constantly a part of the process of something in every single moment. And I think on some level, for those that really embody their craft and their path, which you definitely have, and I'm not trying to, like flex or anything, but I think you and I are really good examples of people that stepped into a certain thing and it was like, okay, this is the thing that I do now. Boom, this is it. Here we go. You know what I mean? And,
Yeah.
come hell or high water, that still continues to be the thing. But there's a lot of energy that it takes out of you. I think that was the thing for me that really, I think, made me pull back at a certain stage. I mean, granted, everyone wants money, but I was really stupid with it at that stage of my life, and I would just get it and spend it. You know what I mean? It's a shame when I look back on that, because I'm like, I should have been much smarter with that, but I wasn't. So, but
I mean, you live and you learn, right? That's
oh
kind of what
yeah.
I made all the money from my audio podcast, and over the last few months, I just blew it. You know what I mean? I just blew through it like an idiot. Like I'm just like, I went to Iowa, and I don't know. I was like,
Right.
because like a part of me wants to just like live life too. You know what I mean? It's nice to have
You
things.
have
It's nice
to.
to be able to go to the store and get whatever you want, right? You know what I
Right.
mean?
You
It's
have
like.
to. Yeah.
It's good to treat yourself like that sometimes, especially when you're putting in all that work, right? You know what I
I
mean?
think
It's
it
like,
is. It's really important. And I also think a lot of us that come to this stage are those that did not have that experience at other stages of our life. You know what I mean?
yeah, that
And
was
so you
definitely me. I
come,
didn't have it either. Yeah, you're right.
right?
Exactly right.
You will come to that stage where you're like, whoa, this is working. I'm kind of making it happen. Now I can do this. Now I can do that. And there's like a living adjustment that has to be made. And for some people, that sounds like a very elementary and childish thing because it comes naturally to them. But I think for those of us that exist within these soul groups or like communities, if you want to call it that, we come into these as very damaged, very traumatized beings. Not to say we all are, but there's a lot of learning and there's a lot of like adjustments and a lot of changes that have to make. And I don't know, man. I've had a wild crash course in it, man. I've definitely learned the hard way. You know, we've been through the attacks, we've been through the great parts, we've been through the contacts. You know, anyway, here we go. We're gonna do a reading for Joyful Jennifer, so I can stop ranting. But here we go. Those of you guiding Joyful Jennifer at this stage of the journey, we're gonna take a slow breath in, clearing all that other energy. Gently release it. And here we go, Joyful Jennifer. What does she need to know this evening? Oh, hello. You've got an Eight of Pentacles. Interesting. This is honestly a very productive and a being that has a lot of hidden talents. Joyful Jennifer, I would imagine you might be like that. You got a lot of hidden talents. There's a lot of things about you that you keep locked up behind closed doors. Now, there's nothing wrong with that. That is not that's where no one's saying anything bad about it. In fact, maybe you're one of those people where, like, if people really knew the depth of who and what you are and what you're capable of, you know, nobody would say you were fake. In fact, they'd be shocked at what you've accumulated or what you've created in this world. That's Eight of Pentacles. No one can look at an Eight of Pentacles and say, you're fake. You didn't do anything. You're worthless. It's impossible. No one will. Absolutely no one. In fact, they'd look at you and they'd go, whoa, huh. I'm not trying to say I understand everything that you've been doing, but man, you have certainly created, done, participated in, or been a part of a lot of something. And you have proof. Look at it. It's all over the wall. And you even look at the work you've been doing. You're chipping away and really honing your abilities. And then you look closer. Let's make it weird. And you're like, wow, you really do have a lot of talents and all kinds of stuff. And wait a minute. Have you just been making the same thing over and over again? Because if you look at it, it is, right? It's like, wait a minute, this kid right here keeps doing the same thing over and over again. And sometimes we expect different results. Sometimes we wait for the world to acknowledge us. Sometimes we hope that at some point in our life we will be seen for the value that we hold. Eight of Pentacles is often a person that holds a lot of unseen hidden value. And while they might have a tendency to repeat certain things in their life, hoping that this time it'll be different, the reality is oftentimes if they're willing to step out of their environment and take those abilities, those belief systems, those things that you keep behind closed doors and bring them out to another place, another community, another location, maybe physically, we could say, you will be seen for something very, very different. The Eight of Pentacles really encourages you to take the things that you've been hiding about yourself and whittling away in the background and to bring them out to the world so people can take part in that. Because this is very productive energy. It can do things that other people can't do, and it can do them over and over and over again. It's just the problem is no one might ever know about it. That's literally a problem of Eight of Pentacles. No one will know. You'll be over there in your house doing it, and everyone will be like, that's not possible. And you're like, bro, I do it every Friday night. What are you talking about? But no one will see it. So they'll never believe you. You know what I mean? Anyway, I'll stop there. But that's Eight of Pentacles.
I love that, man. That was great. We have Willow, Danny, Crystal, and Geraldine. Do you think we could get through? Do you think you want to do?
Yeah.
Should we?
Oh yeah,
okay.
Totally. I'm gonna inhale some allergy medicine live on camera, you guys.
Do you have allergy? Yeah.
I have like chronic like sinusitis recently, which, let's get real, for those of you that don't know, that is a side effect of having congested liver. Is that,
dude? Oh my god, I have that too. It's like a constant like running of my nose. Like my left nostril always plugs up. Is that what that is?
Yes, and it is often on the left side, dude. That's literally real. That's one of the signs of liver dysfunction in the body. It doesn't always mean it's a really big one, but the
The liver rules your eyes, and technically it also has a big effect on the way you breathe and the way you respirate, the way the olfactory system works in your body. And so people that have liver congestion tend to get congested nasal passageways. Look it up, you guys. It's real.
Yeah, I gotta re-up on Tudka. Like I ran out of Tudka, and then I was like, man, there was a point where I was like, man, I didn't really have the money for it. I was like, but like it's so worth it just getting a bottle, because like it helps me so much, dude. Like I don't know if you know how much that really helped me. Like it changed my whole life. Like I was having major pains in my liver, and every time I take the Tudka, it takes it away. So even if it's like $20-$30, if I don't feel like spending it, I just got to do it because it's worth it, right? It's like.
I pray that you will. It is the way that you can greatly contribute to the lifespan of the gallbladder. And I will say this again, not to be like one of those know-it-all people, but you guys, the liver has very, very few pain receptors. It is not an organ of pain. When you experience right side pain on the body, 9 times out of 10, we're experiencing the gallbladder reacting to the dysfunction of the liver. The gallbladder is chock full of pain receptors, man. And when you get that sharp stabbing pain at night or certain times after you eat food, that is your gallbladder. Now, when the liver does reach a stage of profound dysfunction, we will experience pain. But the crazy thing about it is it doesn't often show up as a sharp pain. It shows up as a heaviness, a thick, deep internal pain. And what's wild is it tends to go, believe it or not, it goes to the left more at that stage than it does on the right, because the next thing that breaks down as soon as the liver becomes congested, well, not always, but oftentimes it'll spread over to the spleen, and the spleen will become enlarged. And so anyway, that's where most of the pain comes from. And I'll just tell you, ask me how I know, because I've experienced it. You know what I mean? So I'm like, oh, I had to learn that the hard way. But anyway, who else? Who else do we have readings for?
Yeah, I'm looking at my little list here. We have Willa. Oh, did we do Jennifer? Did we do Jennifer?
Yes, we just did a reading for her. She's the one that got 8 of Pentacles.
Okay, yeah, okay. And so the next would be Willow, and then after that we have Danny and Crystal. Yeah.
Cool. Willow Roots, what's going on? Oh, there, I see your question. I would like a reading on a recent connection I made. Curious as to the nature and meaning of it. Perfect. Thanks for having a question. I like when people have questions. Not that you have to have them. It gives me a thing to grab onto, so I know where to put it. Yeah, let's shuffle one more time. For those of you guiding the individual known as Willow Roots at this stage of the human journey, we're asking that you can please assist her in just taking a look at a new connection that's been made in her life. We're just asking what needs to be known, what needs to be seen. What does this mean? What's it all about? We ask for truth in the interest of self-improvement and joy, connectivity, love, all of those things. Here we go. Ready? 3, 2, 1, and... Okay. All right. I get scared when people ask relationship questions because, there's a couple cards that'll come through and you'll be like, oh, yeah. Anyway, you know what I mean? Because it happens. There's some where you're like, well, there's no easy way to put this. But actually, you got a good, well, let's get specific. So she asks about a recent connection she made, curious as to the nature and meaning of it. And the answer or the response or the information that you received was a Page of Swords. So first, let's start out with who's the Page of Swords. The Page of Swords is a new era in communication. It's a stage of your life in which you stand to grow a tremendous amount within how you communicate, what you're saying, the way that you project yourself, the way that you present yourself in the context of a new connection or a potential relationship type situation. The Page of Swords needs to speak. They need to communicate. They need to be heard. They might say things that will embarrass themselves. They might say silly things. They also might say painful truths. Page of Swords is the most likely character to stand up and say the one thing that everyone knows is true, but nobody else wants to say. You know the story of the emperor has no clothes and the one little kid goes, he doesn't have any clothes on. That's Page of Swords.
Page of Swords will stand up and be like, whoa, 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 hold on, what the boop? You know what I mean? And everyone's like, oh my God. But she was right. I mean, come on. She said it, but it was true. So Page of Swords brings some of that energy into your life. Once again, to define it through the lens of a new connection, there's really nothing that it says no about. It's not a card that brings into mind or predicts doom. It's not a card that says do or don't, stop or go. Well, actually, it does. It says go, and it might go fast, and you should be careful because you might stumble along the way. And every now and then, when you really look at it, you realize it's this woman, and she's running down a hill, and she's holding a very, very big sword. It's gigantic, and it's really shiny and new, and it's incredibly sharp. And why? Because pages just bring in new events, new chapters, new eras of change. And this one's about communication. And the Page of Swords starts running down the hill. And what do you think happens? They fall on their sword. And so it's common. It happens for a Page of Swords situation. And so I would say be very mindful of how you communicate yourself. Be very authentic. Page of Swords will bring into your life, from a relationship perspective, things that are meant to teach you about communication. And so it could be liberating. Honestly, in a lot of ways, a Page of Swords will come into your life, and it could be the first time you're able to say the things that you really feel and that you really, really need to express. And then on another hand, it could be a period of your life where you realize that you keep saying the wrong thing, and that there could be an eventual mismatch with belief systems and manners of expression. And so Page of Swords goes a lot of directions. I would say at the heart of it, if you're just wondering, should I continue to see or connect with this person? Absolutely. And the more you can talk to them, the better. So I would say the more, there you go. I see you in the chat. You have to communicate emotions and thoughts. Yes. And if you're wondering, how will I tell if this is going to work? You're going to be incredibly communicative. Just know that you might come to moments of embarrassment. I would say that's the worst thing for Page of Swords, which in this grand scope of everything in this life really isn't that bad. The worst that'll happen is they'll say something and they'll be like, oh shit, oh my God, I just said that. I mean, I didn't actually mean, well, maybe, you'll do that. You'll trip over your words, so anyway, I'll stop there. I think you should keep connecting with this person, and nothing says no. Honestly, a more detailed reading would give you more info, but, I think that's a good starting point.
I love that. That's great for you. I hope that resonates with you, Willow. The next one was a super sticker. We just have Danny, Crystal, and Geraldine. That's it. And then,
nice.
yeah.
We got Danny L33. We got a pit bull. What's up? Nice.
That's cool.
I think that's a pit, right? Yeah, cool. I love those guys. Anyway. I do wish we could have a dog. I'm reaching the stage of my life where I want to get a dog again, but we live in an apartment, and I will not bring, I guess I'm too weird and old school. I won't do pets in apartments. I have to give them a yard or a place they can run around, so we're not going to get an animal until later. But I think later on, you guys, I'm going to get a Great Pyrenees. I don't know why. I literally have dreams where I have a Great Pyrenees, one of those big like white dogs, you know what I'm talking about? I've seen it so many times. I don't know what that means. I think later on in life one's going to come into my life. I don't know why. And plus every time I see them I'm like, oh my God, you know what I mean? So anyway, okay. This is for Danny L33. Did she have a question, or we're just going to do a general?
Danny, did you have a question? I'll see if it.
There's no question needed, just in case you want me to go in a certain direction, Anyway, here we go. I don't hear anything about no questions, so let's take a slow breath in, acknowledging all those of you assisting Danny at this stage in the human experience in the year 2025. We're just asking for anything that needs to be seen or heard. Or
she said her dog's an American Bulldog. I guess.
Okay, there you go. Yeah.
Okay,
Those
here
are
we
cool
go.
too. I love bulldogs. I like the little ones that are like compact and they bust through doors and stuff. Those that are like kind of
Oh
rambunctious.
yeah, those guys are. Oh man, I love those guys. My sister had
Like,
one
you
like
remember
yours.
wrestling when we were young? British Bulldog used to have one. That guy that
Oh
know,
yeah,
you know.
yeah. Yes, totally, totally. Okay, here's another ancient animal from back in the day. Does anybody out there, okay, seriously, this is going to test your Generation X knowledge. Only Gen X people and older will know this. Who was the original party animal? Who's the
George the
original
Animal
party?
Steel. Was it George the Animal Steel from
Nope,
wrestling? Or
you're gonna
no, it was
no.
Spuds
It's
McKenzie. Spuds
yes.
McKenzie.
Holy shit, you know it. Spuds
Yeah,
McKenzie, the original party animal. That is
yeah.
that is literally the okay, you guys. Look, for those of you who were okay, Holland Sass knows the original party animal, Spuds McKenzie. Let's give it
Yeah.
up. Give it up. Give it up for Spuds. Spuds
That's
is
from
up
our
there in
youth,
heaven.
right? Like,
Oh
like you're
yeah.
right. The only people that know that grew up in the 80s, like, because
Right.
like you see it on Flash on TV all the time,
Dude, totally. I had the Spuds shirt, man. I had to beg my dad to get it. He was like, I don't want you to have a beer shirt. And I was like, oh, come on, Dad, I want a Spuds McKenzie shirt. You know, I did. I had the Spuds McKenzie. Hey, anyway, yeah, Spuds, he's out there. He's up in heaven now, chilling with Harambe.
Wait, who's
Yeah,
Harambe?
he is, dude. Harambe is like a psychopomp now. Do you know what a psychopomp is? A
Yeah, it's someone
psychopomp
who
is,
guides people
yeah.
to the afterlife, right?
Yeah, yes. Harambe's a psychopomp now for like animal souls that are about to ascend into a different stage of consciousness. I am not making a joke. I am being totally authentic. Harambe is now a psychopomp holding the gateway open for animal souls that pass into other dimensions. There have been number of them throughout time, history, notable animals that have had great impact on human consciousness. And it's a real thing. Somebody, people out there are gonna laugh, and then I promise you, a stage of your life, you're gonna have some kind of weird experience. And you know what? We're all gonna end up out there in the afterlife. We're gonna be like, "What's up, Harambe?" And he'll be rolling up with a bunch of dogs that just passed on, and they'll be like, "Hey," and he like brings them over. Anyway. I'll stop now.
What made you? How'd you find that out that he's a psychopomp, like guide animals to the afterlife? Like, what made you? I mean, like,
Honestly, I will be really authentic with you because I sit there and I will perceive and I will hold people's energy within my mind and my body, and I will breathe into it and I will ask to be shown who and what they are. It's a practice that I started doing in 2017 when I had that crazy Kundalini explosion in my body, and I thought I was going crazy. And at that time in my life, I could sit and look at it in an inanimate object, and I could literally extend my consciousness. It had happened accidentally. I would literally go into the surface of a wall, into a microscopic hole in the ceiling, and I would be able to feel and perceive everything that was inside it. And honestly, it was overwhelming. And it's just one of the practices that has stayed with me. I'm not saying that that is the absolute truth. I'm saying that that is what I have been shown through the processes of work that I do. And here's the other crazy part. A lot of times when I'm doing sessions with people, there's things that will hang out like along with us in that moment, or just that will hang out afterward, that will often interface with me. I talk about it in the book a lot, or in actually, I think only a couple different areas, but it's a thing that happens a lot. And people's energy will stay with you. And I think that everyone has the ability to look at a person on YouTube or a person on TV or even an animal and to be able to read the energy of their soul and understand what's going on with them. It doesn't mean we're going to get everything, but it means that if there's pertinent pieces of information that our body can process and receive, that we'll receive it. And I'm sorry to go on a rant here, Danny. We're going to do your reading in a second, but if you guys were wondering what would be a place in my energy body that I could work with so that I could have greater access to the type of information that you're talking about right now, because I am not the only one that has perceived that. Other people have talked about it, and much greater detail. I don't mean Harambe specifically, but much more detailed things. So where would you work in your energy body to open up your ability? Well, that obviously on one level is the function of the third eye. People who know me know where I'm going to go next. They're going to be like, oh God, he's going to talk about it. But what is the energy center that allows you to react and respond to
Your
the
throat chakra.
intuitive impulses? That's more for communication. There's another place often referred to as the back door to the third eye, and that is the navel
Oh,
chakra. The
that's
navel
cool.
chakra. No one talks about the navel chakra. I do not know why no one talks about the navel chakra. Maybe one of my assignments is to familiarize people with the navel chakra. To be fair, they refer to it constantly in the world of pranic healing, which is a well-established energetic modality. But I don't hear a lot of people in the starseed community talk about it. Yet a lot of people are constantly talking about opening the third eye. In order to have an open and operable third eye kind of infrastructure that allows you to react and respond and make use of intuitive and spiritual information, the navel chakra has to be at least in a partial state of opening or dilation. Just like when your eyes dilate and they let in more light, right? The navel chakra dilates and we're able to receive and make use of that information. So it's just one of the big, honestly, it's one of the number one blockage places in the energy. But well, I'd say the throat, actually. Probably the throat. But anyway, sorry, I'll go on and on about anatomy. I'll stop now.
That's interesting. I
Sorry, guys. Danny L33, here we go. For those of you guiding Danny, we were right about to do it earlier, and then we paused. I'm sorry. Here we go. What do you guys need her to know? 3, 2, 1, and bing. Whoa, all right. You've been granted a benevolent closure to a certain chapter of something in your life, Danny. You have received one of the best endings in the, well, no, I mean, maybe it is the best. Well, it depends on what you describe as the best. You have an incredibly good ending card. And I know that sounds weird. It's a strange statement, right? It's called the 10 of Cups. And every 10 in the world of tarot is an ending of sorts. It's not a final ending. It's not the ending of your life. Every now and then it could be like an ending of a chapter or a week or a relationship. Sometimes it's bigger than that, and it could be a major life change. You'll know, you know what I mean, if this is a factor for you. Sometimes it's just a thing they want you to know about, but you have a benevolent chapter of closure available to you, maybe coming inevitably in your life. That's 10 of Pentacles. It's the scene in the movie where everyone's back together and the credits are rolling and everyone's smiling and hugging. And I know that sounds kind of cheesy and fortune tellery, but honestly, that's the 10 of Cups. 10 of Cups is the benevolent, happy ending. And it can oftentimes, for some people, it can signal a transition of a decade or a period of time where you really have to be mindful of what it is that you're carrying into the next stage. Even if it's just next week and you're deciding what it is that you're going to be carrying with you physically. The 10 of Cups involves 10 cups, and each one of those cups has experiences, emotions, pieces of you that have defined you, that have been a part of your kind of world-based life over the past few years or months or sometimes days. Because remember, 10s aren't always about a massive chapter of closure. It could just be Friday and it's the end of the week and everyone's going home, and the 10 of Cups would be the one where it's like, that was a good week. Damn, that went well, man. All right, I'll see you guys later. Yeah, I'm not taking anything home. Boom. You know what I mean? And you'll come back next week and do it all over again. Or it could be one of those moments where it's like, I'm finally putting these things behind me for the first time. And you're not doing it with avoidance or sadness. You're doing it with joy in a very, very positive way. And so you do have to be mindful of what you're carrying. You really got to look at it and go, okay, like what belief systems, what emotions, what am I carrying forward into the next stage of my life? It'll teach you a lot about what you hold on to, and it'll also show you that you really do deserve and are worthy of good things in your life if you're willing to let go, which is a theme of all the 10s. Ultimately, we do let go of things. So anyway, we'll stop there.
That was amazing, dude. You're on point tonight, man. Like we just have two more. We just have Crystal and Geraldine. Do you think we could? Do you think we should do them, or do you think we?
Oh yeah, totally. Oh yeah, hell yeah, totally. Totally.
I want to make
I
sure.
love.
I want to, but I want to make sure you're.
Oh no, I don't mind at all, man. I'm in it for yeah, we're here. I love Spite Fairy Fantasy in the chat. That's awesome. I love these guys.
That's Hawk Elf. He's back.
Oh, it is. Oh yeah, thanks. Thank you for bringing some sort of like angular toxic energy in here. I'm being completely authentic. I think it's good. We get a little bit of a we need a little bit of controversy to keep things flowing. Anyway,
he's going through it. I think he's going through something. Like it's
okay. Hang out with us, Sprite Fairy. I mean it sincerely. Hang out. I pray for you. We're gonna bring in some grounding energy. But yeah, hang in there, dude. Holland Sass. Here we go. For my reading, she says, "Oh, any messages for my friend Check Joe from his girlfriend Annie, who just oh god, okay." Sorry to laugh like that. It's just like that's a very big ask on a live stream. Like, oh yeah, let's tap into a person that's just died and give you an accurate mediumship reading and on the fly. Some people will say yes, we can do that. I won't even attempt to do it on a live stream, but what I will do is we'll pull a card for them, and see what shows up. And so pause for a quick moment as we just give honor and love to the soul of Annie, to the soul of Joe, to all those of you that share within the energy that was created and experienced during her time on Earth. We just ask if there's anything that can be shown through the lens of tarot, any symbols, anything that needs to be seen or heard in the interest of healing, in the interest of closure, in the interest of love for all those involved, and with respect for those that have passed on. Thank you. Here we go. 3, 2, 1. Boom. Okay. So we ask, are there any messages? And we receive a Page of Cups. So I'm just going to give it to you kind of like the story of the Page of Cups, and you get to decide where and how this fits into your world. It can go in a lot of different directions, but Page of Cups is the biggest empath in the world of tarot. If there's an emotion in the room, they're going to be feeling it. If there is, a discordant energy, if there's difficulty, if there's turbulence in their environment, they're going to feel it. This is a being that feels everything, that notices everything, even if they don't know what to do with it. And let's say in times of loss, in times of difficulty, the Page of Cups asks you to do a very specific thing. And maybe this is a thing that, Annie in her spirit form would also enjoy, taking part in with Joe. And that is that you will go to the water. You may go to the ocean. Anywhere where there's water, you could go to the river. It doesn't matter wherever you live, but they will cleanse. They will do a ritual. They will do a ceremony. Rituals and ceremony, healing work involving having anything to do with water or bathing or cleansing is incredibly helpful. So when you ask, like, is there any messages from this person? I think one of the ways that we could interpret this is that they're asking you to engage with the element of water and to allow that to act as a healing source in your life, washing away pain, washing away sadness, but also washing away energies that you might have accumulated from the past, from people, from places and things. Maybe Annie in her own life was an incredible empath and was very tapped into the unseen forces and the energies that exist with us in this world. I only say that because that's one of Page of Cups' abilities. They're the biggest empaths. If there's a feeling, they're going to get it. And so when we ask for a message or we say, what do I need to do? How do I create healing, clarity, empowerment? How do I release what it is that I'm holding inside me? The Page of Cups says, connect with water.
cleanse the body, cleanse the soul, cleanse the emotions. Notice they have a very small cup, and that's because they can only withstand so much. They're only meant to withstand so much. And so you also just need to be very careful about what you absorb from other people in terms of expectations, in terms of ideas, in terms of a lot of different stuff. And so be sure to create something in her honor. It doesn't have to be a big thing. It doesn't have to be this massive creation. If you want it to be, it certainly can. But that's one of the abilities of a Page of Cups. They must create something with the energy that they are given. They're holding a lot of emotion in their body. Let's say maybe they're in a stage or mourning, or they're just looking for closure around somebody that has left, or something that has been taken from their life. You would be very wise to express whatever it is that you're going through 3 different ways. Cycles of 3 are very powerful for a Page of Cups. And so I could go on, but this is a time for cleansing. And I would say, yeah, work with water and hang in there. I'm genuinely sorry.
Sorry. Dude, I think you're really on. Like, I'm looking for our last person, Geraldine Hale. Geraldine, if you're in the,
it's probably the middle of the night for her, and she'll come back and watch this later. Just because I know Geraldine, and I know it's like literally middle of the night in the UK, so it's probably
UK. Oh wow.
Yeah. So it's like I get it. But yes, we're gonna pull a card for Geraldine, and we can do one other one after that if you guys want.
We got a new person in the chat. Her name's Jamil Luminati. I wanted to tell her welcome, and she wanted a card too. I said maybe we can do her.
Yeah. We will do one for you as well. Here we go. Geraldine is here. What's up, Geraldine? For those of you guiding Geraldine at this stage of the journey, we're just looking for anything that needs to be seen or heard here today. Okay, we're going. Geraldine, you know how this goes. We've done this before. It goes to the energy body, but from a very, very limited perspective. And I'll give this real quick message, and then I'll pull out, and we'll pull you a card. Just really, please express your anger. It just, as soon as I feel into your energy field, it's like, I'm not saying it's like pure liver energy. It's just a lot of like, there's a version of you somewhere inside you right now that's like, and it's like, it's not really fighting everyone and everything, but it's very like, you better watch, it's like kind of, its fists are balled up, you know what I mean? It's not super problematic, but you'll do a little bit of anger release work in the coming days and weeks where you're really mindful about like letting something like explode out of the body. It's going to bring a lot more well-being into your body. It's going to help you sleep a little bit better. But anyway, just a minor anecdote. You'll know if it's relevant. Here we go. Let's pull a card for Geraldine. In 3, 2, 1. Whoa, well, Geraldine, you got a 8 of Pentacles. Very, very interesting. Excuse me, 6. You probably saw it. She's like, Matthew, that's a 6. Sorry. You got a 6 of Pentacles. Earlier, somebody else got an 8 of Pentacles. 6 of Pentacles is what I would call a very benevolent period in your life. If you're wondering about where your value is, what you have to exchange with the world, if you're questioning whether there is even anything that the world wants from you, there's something that you have to give. You've got a lot. And here's the thing, what's wild is I'm kind of front-loaded on this, Geraldine, because I know you. And, well, we know you a little bit at least. But and I know that you're an incredibly talented, I'll use this as the most obvious example. You're an incredibly talented reader and intuitive. I mean, shockingly so. And I'm not saying that it's about that, but that's a good example of things that will show up in the time of a 6 of Pentacles, where the world says you've got something of value, and if you're willing to exchange it with the world, you're going to get something back. I mean, there's a cost of entry, though, and that is that you do kind of have to go all in on certain things. Half measures You know, as some of us have heard this statement before, half measures avail us nothing. Somebody will know where that's from. But really, though, Six of Pentacles, you really do have to go all the way. But if you're willing to go all the way into something in a certain area of your life and truly invest yourself in a path or an idea or something that you're trying to manifest, the world's going to show up and they're going to show you how much value you really do hold. And there's going to be an exchange. And every now and then they want everything that you have, or every now and then they want to give you everything that they have. It could go either directions. Just be mindful. It can come and go quick. So you really got to be careful about what it is you're accumulating. You have to be wise about resources such as money and income. And just know that you have a chapter of incredible value that's available to you. I mean, really, really incredible value. I would say take that for anyone out there who's pulling cards for themselves and you're wondering, how do I make sense of a Six of Pentacles? It's about exchange. It's about investment. It's about the value that we hold. And it's about how at certain stages of your life, we can either gain everything or we could lose everything. Because you can lose everything with the Six of Pentacles. It's like 1 week you'll have $1 million and 2 weeks later you're like, how did I lose it all? Where did it all go? That could also happen. That's the downside of it. That's the downside. But I don't know. I think you're being asked to invest yourself deeper in just the things that you have that you can that can bring you value and like appreciation from the world. And anyway, I'm just going on and on. Sorry.
Yeah, that was amazing, man. I can't believe we go 2.5 hours. This is fun though. I think it's because we talked a lot it's because we talked. We did like a podcast, like, but basically before we.
I haven't even looked at the time, so I didn't even know.
Okay, this will be the last one, guys. And this is a new person. This is Jamil Illuminati.
Illuminati.
And, I don't know if she's a question.
Totally, yeah. We're gonna pull a card for you. That kind of reminds me of when we were living in Los Angeles, and I remember we were living around the corner from one of the. I never watched their show, but I think the guy's name is somebody. You remember that? I won't say the name of the celebrity's name because I can't think of his exact name, but we lived around the corner from a popular celebrity dude that was on a lot of shows at the time. And I remember one day I was walking, I think I was going, this is going to sound so cheesy. I was going to get a hand roll at a sushi place and I was walking past the building and this car pulled up. Okay. And it was like one of those mid 2000s what was it, like a Chevy Malibu? Like, remember when the Chevy Malibu got like reissued and everyone thought it would be cool, but it was just a shit level American car. It was like a tricked out Chevy Malibu pulled up in front of this super, super nice high-rise apartment, these loft apartments. And this guy got out and he was like a really swanky looking, black dude. He had like a really nice suit on and his tricked out Chevy Malibu, the trim had writing on it. You know how like they put those lines on the car, and it was like
That's
was literally
wrong. You know what I mean? You can't trick out a Chevy Malibu. You know what I mean?
Check out what was written on this. It was Illuminati. It was like this like self-identification. Like it literally said some ridiculous shit like Illuminati mobile. I swear to you,
that's hilarious.
And I remember looking at it and I was like, wait, what? I think Nora was actually I don't know, maybe she wasn't with me on that day. I'm not sure. But I remember looking at it and I was like, wait a minute, what? This dude literally had Illuminati terminology like put on the trim lines of his tricked out mid 2000s Chevy Malibu. You know what I mean? It was almost like the ghetto version of it. I'm not trying to like go in any direction, but it was, you know what I mean? It was like the budget Dollar General version of the Illuminati. And anyway, I don't know. I will never forget that dude. And you can imagine the car was. It was honestly, somebody out there is going to know what color it was too. You're going to know what if you can guess what color that car was.
She had a question. She says, any advice, pregnancy number 3 as a single mom, just overwhelmed and want a family, life's feeling heavy, wondering how to battle PTSD.
Okay. That's
I always tell people Jamil. I think her name's Jamil or Jamilia. I'm guessing that's what it is. But like, what I say is like nobody leaves this earth without PTSD. Like it seems like we all have it to some degree. Trauma.
right.
It's like something that comes along with like the earth experience. It seems like, you know.
Right.
You
Right.
know?
Totally. Yeah. Okay. Let's see what shows up. Oh, wait. Hold on. Shaylee in the chat got it. Literally, you got it. Literally, it was dark forest green. CAA or Shaylee says green.
That's
You're
great.
absolutely right. You remember the dark forest green color that was popular in that like early 2000s, dude? Anyway, here we go. So, yeah, let's check in. What do we need to know? Jim Illuminati. I'm saying your name in such a random way. What needs to be seen? What needs to be heard? Thank you to all those of you that continue to guide her in safety and abundance. 3, 2, 1. Boom. Huh. You got a very good sign right now. It could also be a potentially difficult sign. I'm going to be totally real with you. Now, you ask about advice for just you as a single mom going through that world, and I was raised in a single parent household. I totally get it, man. There's like a whole bunch of really unique challenges that a number of us have to deal with, and a lot of times you'll be wondering, how do I get better? Where do I go? How do I improve myself? How do I make this thing work? What am I doing wrong? What am I doing right? And there isn't always a lot of feedback, that the world can give us. There isn't any source that you can turn to and say, well, what do I need to do? Which way am I supposed to go? And the world is a really interesting example of that in the realm of tarot, because the world really, this is going to sound kind of difficult for some, the world leaves it entirely up to you, but in a really, really cool way. And so the thing that you need to know right now is that you are in a temporary period of enhanced manifestational ability. Meaning, right now in your life, if you're willing to truly focus and obsess yourself with certain paths of growth or change, to become uniquely obsessed with it, to devote yourself to something, the world is kind of like a magic mirror where whatever you hold up in front of it, the world's going to give it to you really fast. And the problem is, a lot of people have this and they carry it with them throughout their life, and they don't realize that the things that they're obsessed upon, the fears that they have, the things that they try to avoid, and the act of obsessing upon them and sort of dwelling and ruminating upon them in their life, they actually keep things going in a really difficult direction. When the reality is, the world gives you authorization to invest yourself and obsess yourself with something new. So that might not answer a lot of questions for you just in terms of where you are right now, but what it does tell you is that you're capable right now of creating or manifesting or jumping into something that you've been thinking of and looking at on your phone and wondering, am I worthy of it? Am I even good enough? The world comes into your readings to show up and say, you know what? First of all, you can, but you need to reflect it outward. You need to show it to the world. You need to talk about it, obsess upon it, think about it, dream about it. And so from an outer perspective, this would often describe a person that has a lot more capability to, like, if it's just about like having abundance and money and more stability in your life, that's very possible for a person that has the world. But we also have to look at what it is that we're reflecting out. And if we're a person that's holding a lot of trauma or a lot of difficulty in the body, I mean, I could also, well, I'll just kind of softly shift gears and say, based on what shows up here in this moment, you're holding a lot of energy in the pericardium. For those of you guys that don't know, the pericardium is the layer around your heart. When your heart beats, the pericardium flexes in your heart beats. And the pericardium holds, well, first of all, it's the protector of the heart. And it's from a multidimensional or emotional perspective, it's meant to shield the heart from damage and damaging emotions and intensity and traumas in this life. And I think you're a really good example of a person that holds a lot of energy there within the pericardium, within the chest. And you'll know it's true. Let's just say, if you've noticed over the past few years in your relationships that you've attracted the same type of people and over again.
a certain type of individual will find you attractive and the cycle will play itself out, or you'll only be attracted to these people, or we have certain issues with love or self-love or body image. That's the channel of the pericardium, and it just feels like you're holding a lot of energy there. So when you talk about letting go of PTSD, that would be a thing to look at. And honestly, how would you treat it? Because that's one of the big questions. Everyone's like, yeah, okay, I do feel like that a lot, but what would you do about it if you do have that? Similar to the throat, it's a thing that needs to be deprogrammed from. Now, we're speaking about pericardium from an emotional perspective, because other people will look at it medically and they'll say, no, it's a whole different thing. It is entirely different thing. From an existential or an emotional perspective, it holds records of past relationships and timelines and belief systems and cycles. And so we have to do a lot of work on unpacking those. And so the more you can talk about the way things have been, I think the more you're going to release that, which is not necessarily a quick fix. It really requires us to continue to engage in something therapeutically. Anyway, I'm kind of ranting at you at this stage, but I guess what I'm saying is the energy that you hold is very palpable, and I think that you're worthy of a lot more. So I don't know, imagine something really cool for yourself in 2026. Just based on the fact that you have the world, things are more possible for you than you realize. So anyway, I will stop there. I've been talking for hours, right? Sorry.
Dude, I can't believe we streamed for like 2 hours and 40 minutes. But like I said, we did like an hour podcast before we started doing readings. You know what I mean? Which is cool. I love doing that though. Like I think the audience likes
don't
to
mind.
talk, and we don't know where it's going to go. We just kind of do it, and it just kind of goes wherever. I like that. It's
Totally.
fun.
I actually don't mind one bit. I want to say thank you to you, Rob, and thank you to everybody in the chat for finding value in this weird thing that I do in this life. I know a lot of people come on this show and they, sling a bunch of ideas and their views about reality and all that, but I think I come in here like really with no agenda at this point. I show up and I'm like, I have no idea what we're here to do, and I want to thank everybody for hanging out with us and taking part in the stuff that we do. And yeah, we'll do it again.
Dude, and honestly, you guys should book with Matthew. If you don't book with him, you should at least join his Patreon. Like you can join for 2 different levels, and you get a guaranteed reading twice a month. Is it twice a month? Is that how it is? Like
on one Saturday of the month, we do readings for everybody, and then the last Sunday of the month, we do an energy clearing meditation, which is tier 2. That's the energy clearing meditation. But yeah, we do it every month. Everybody that shows up gets a reading. We haven't. Well, honestly, I think back in the day, I did accidentally miss a couple people every now and then. And I got traumatized by it because some person got so like angry at me for skipping them. I was like, okay, I'll never do it again. And ever since then, I've been like, I will not leave anyone behind. So we're pretty good at getting them all. But it's really between me and Honora. And for those that don't know, Honora does much better readings. So anyway, we shall leave it there for now. But yeah, thanks everybody.
Yeah, and do you have anything else you want to tell people? Like anything else you want to promote?
I would say, yeah, you can find us at rememberyourmission.com for those of you guys that want to book a private reading, a private energy clearing session. What I've noticed in the second half of 2025, the most commonly booked thing people have right now is a consultation. I call it a therapeutic kind of psychic consultation. And what it really is just an hour chat that we have that gives you an opportunity to ask questions, and we can just kind of look at your energy and just talk about kind of just directions or stuff in your life. I've just noticed in 2025, a lot of people have been booking that, where it's like, look, I just have questions. I don't even know if I need a clearing. I don't necessarily want a reading. I just kind of want to get your idea on what, you think, like, what might I even be good at, because that's a big thing right now, you guys. A lot of people are being called to step up into new states of doing similar work, whether it be intuitively based or something we'll call it wellness, so we don't say the H word too much. within a wellness sense, or really just improving the condition of the physical and the emotional body. People are being called to learn how to do this work. It doesn't have to always be as a professional psychic, but what I've noticed over the past few years, there's a tremendous amount of people that come in just to say, like, what is it, that type of energy am I holding, and what might I be good at? It wasn't a thing that I wanted to do in the beginning, but I realized, I'm like, well, I guess I'm pretty good at it because everyone keeps asking me to do it. So I'm like, okay, but yeah, so that's basically been a lot of what we've been doing this year. But yeah, you can book consultation or reading. And then last thing I'll say is you can find us on YouTube at Remember Your Mission and Patreon at the Blue Flame Collective, where we'll be next Saturday. So anyway, that's it. I guess this was our longest show, right?
Yeah, it was pretty long. We usually go about 2 hours. This one went 2 hours and 40 minutes. Like, which I don't care. I did 5 hours on Halloween, so it's like, but like I sometimes I like doing these long streams. They're fun.
Yeah, sorry it's so long, everybody.
Dude, it was fun. I had a blast. And guys, tomorrow, this is the schedule. I think this is what it's supposed to be. Tomorrow I'm going to have Brian Singh at 8 p.m. Eastern from Full Disclosure Now, and then 9 p.m. Eastern is the Sean Bond remake up show. I think Sean Bond's going to come on. So I think that's what's going on. So I'll see you guys all tomorrow, and I'll
be there. We'll check you out.
All right. See you tomorrow, guys. Thanks, everyone. And I think it's going to let me.